Yo, what's going on, man?
Yo, what you doing?
Nah, shit, just chilling downtown. What you getting into?
Man, I just got this fire blow. I was trying to see if you were wanting to hang out.
Nah, man. I'm trying to stay away from that shit, bro. I can't be doing that right now.
Why are you always trying to be like that now, man?
Look, man, I'm so tired of hearing that fucking question, bro. I'm just trying to do what's best for me. I'll talk to you later, man. Tired of living life like an addict. Depression got me stressing, going back to bad habits. Blowing all my money, could have been living lavish. It's a part of my brain that really should have been subtracted. I'm impulsive, fuck it. Feel good when my nose is loaded. Didn't have the bread, but hit the plug, let me hold it. I'm fucking fiending and I'm trying not to show it, but I'm coming right back and that motherfucker knows it, goddamn. Tired of living life like that. First I get a little head, then I fall right back. So tired of the pain, so I'm lost in a sack. Gonna take a bunch of lines till I have a heart attack. I'm having cocaine nightmares. I'm fighting with these demons, they don't fight fair. I swear fuckers see them, but they ain't there, I'm getting scared. It's like I'm fighting Tyler Durden in a minute chair. I got my finger on the trigger and I'm ready to pull it. The straw is the gun and the coke is the bullet. I'm tired of all the bullshit, I'm ready to lose it. I've been hoarding all this pain and I'm ready to use it. So I spaz on the beat and let my soul bleed.
You were pretty upset when you couldn't be here.
Yeah, man, I ended up having a fucking migraine, so had to sleep that off. But I'm here this week, so.
Got you. Yeah, sometimes I get migraines like that too. Maybe it's a German thing. I don't know.
Could be.
Damn,
Could be an alcohol thing too.
It's like I'm still shell shocked from my past life or something.
Which side do you think you were on, Scott?
I had family that flew in the German Air Force during World War II. So.
Oh, God. I knew he was a Nazi this whole time.
But then Grandpa's plane got shot down. He got captured and the war ended.
Because he got captured? Damn.
They're like, we got him.
Sounds like your grandpa was Hitler.
Try not to read too much into that story.
He seems pretty high ranking.
Yeah. I always wondered, and then my grandparents told me a little bit about the family, and I was like, damn. I mean, they grew up in like Nazi Germany and stuff. My grandfather actually grew up in Berlin, lived like his whole life there, so he lived there post-war during the split too. I actually think they lived on the Russian side. I'm not sure, but they fucking hate Hitler. They had very choice words about Hitler and Donald Trump when I saw them. And they like grew up in Nazi Germany. So for some of the comparisons, I think really with Trump, it's more like his rhetoric and the way that he speaks and leads the crowd.
I think that's more what it is, the way he can get a crowd risen with not very good intellectual talking.
Yeah, exactly. People want to like be like, oh, he's a racist, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, he may have some.
Yeah,
America.
He's that.
You can kind of get it going like a rock star, sort of. You know.
Yeah.
It's like Lois Griffin on that one fucking Family Guy where she's like 9/11. And the crowd goes wild.
Right. That's almost exactly what it's like.
Yeah, he's really good at framing like bumper sticker like quotes and phrases that you know what I mean. Build that wall,
exactly what you mean.
lock her up, da da da.
Yeah. Make America great again.
Yeah. Great branding.
He's got like a 5-syllable limit. Make America great. All right, so I think everybody knows who you guys are by now. Comedian Pete Canciglia, rapper Mike Willis. Go check out that fucking video, Nightmares. Evil Monstar, DJ. You got any shows coming up, bud?
The next one is February 15th, day after Valentine's Day at the Rec Center, your favorite spot. And then after that is actually Leap Day, February 29th, for Freak.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah, there's another freak.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's get weird. I'm super excited.
I wonder if that one guy's gonna be there.
Which one?
The one that oh god, that's a
someone like found him in the bushes.
Yeah,
like,
the bald guy with no teeth.
Oh, yeah. He'll probably be there.
I hope so.
He is so fucked up.
Come out to Freak, guys. Come out to the Rec Center the day after Valentine's Day. I'm at Bullcock and Swine again this year. I think you said you were gonna come up.
Yep.
Should have a guys' date and all the guys come up and hang out.
Yeah.
Bullcock.
Yeah, you
Dated the Bullcock.
Oh, dated the Bullcock. You came to the last one, didn't you?
I don't know, did I?
No, he didn't come to the last one.
You came to the last one with the guys from Atlantic City. You think you're funny, Mike? I'm the funny man. This is my podcast. This is not a podcast. Don't just come hijacking the show like a Saudi Arabian.
Now, what it really is this is not your podcast anymore.
Right. Well, that's part of the point.
Yeah, he's the co-host at this point, right? He's
Yeah.
been on like 6 of 8 or 5
7
of 7.
podcasts. Mike's been on 5 of them.
Yeah.
Andy's been on the other 2.
Y'all are gonna have like a Letterman Leno like feud
Yeah.
for this like Monday night spot.
Well, I equated it to like when Rogan first started. It was always like Red Band and Shafir and Duncan Trussell and like Tom Segura.
Right.
It was like the same couple people circulated, and then it started branching out. But he always has those people come back, and those are my favorite ones.
And now we got Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll take it.
I was talking to somebody about that the other day. You are the Eddie Bravo of the bunch. I love it.
The standard of podcasting.
Like, hopefully one day I can have, one day I will have Alex Jones on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make sure that you can.
I mean,
Come
he's
on,
not doing a
bro.
whole bunch right now. Now that InfoWars has been like demonetized, so
Yeah, he might be hard for money.
Yeah. Or
How
exposure.
much
We could send him
money?
an
Yeah,
email.
or.
He can't do Joe Rogan every day.
He can't do Joe Rogan. Didn't you say he did like T.I. and
Oh,
T.I.'s
yeah.
podcast?
Fuck yeah, dude.
That was pretty cool.
I still haven't listened to that. I have to check that out.
You should go listen to the conversation between him and Louis Farrakhan. That's a really good one.
What's happening to our battery, Eric?
Who? Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I thought.
Alex Jones and Farrakhan. It's actually a really good discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can they still hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. We have some technical difficulties. You can't see us right now, but
You can hear us.
you can hear us. This now. It's not a podcast.
It's probably better that you
Can
can't
they-
see us
Can
anyway.
they see us, or is it just that thing is dead?
The camera is dead.
Oh,
I
God.
can still hear everything.
We all have faces for radio.
See,
anyway.
that's what happens. That's what happens
Man, I
when
wish
you
I had
use
Tony
the
B's voice.
when you use the casting couch cam.
Yeah.
You
Well,
gotta recharge that bad boy.
yeah. We had an interview earlier before you guys got here, so it's dead. Sorry. about that. It's hilarious.
That's what you call it.
Yeah, that's what we call it. That's what we call it when we pass out free candy from the van. It's the casting couch, the casting van. This is not a van.
If you can get out of the van, then you're hired.
What was that one? God. I can't think of it right. There was a actual porn site dedicated to that.
Bang
It was-
Bus.
Yeah, Bang Bus.
Yeah.
They just go pick up random people and
Bang
bang
bus,
them.
dragon line. What's happening, sir?
You go bang bang.
Alright, they can't see us. Fuck it.
Nah,
We'll
fuck
start
it.
talking anyway.
It's gonna work.
It's not like anybody needs to see us. We don't do a lot of hand gestures anyway.
I'm a rapper. It's what I do.
So I used to do that when I was a kid, like walking down the hallway. I'd be like, like I was rapping into a fucking camera or something. Like life is a music video. I used to stand in the kitchen and then like look at the wall and be like, so today on Cooking with Scott, we're making whatever disgusting ramen noodle concoction I was making that day. Probably putting salsa.
Hot dog sushi.
Yeah, hot dog sushi. Fuck you, Andy. Well,
Is that a recipe of yours? Hot dog sushi?
That's Andy's recipe.
That's your recipe?
Yeah, it's just a
What's the
tortilla with
trick?
cheese and then roll up a hot dog inside of it.
I did. Sounds good, man. That sounds like good
He
drunk food.
wouldn't touch it.
No?
It's too good for it.
It was too good for you.
You think you're better than me?
I do. I think I'm better than a hot dog sushi.
Try and give him some rich people food, and he doesn't know what to do with it.
Go eat your quiche, guy.
You should see me with a pair of chopsticks.
The secret's just that.
Andy and
It's
his
all
girl,
index
pretty
fingers.
much all of our friends would just stand around and make fun of me.
Well, there's Scott.
Hey guys. Is that the,
That was creepy.
Is that this camera?
Yeah.
Where's Andy and everybody else?
I'm gonna fix it.
Here, we'll talk to them.
Yeah, we should get a 360 camera that just goes in the middle so they can see, like, they
So
can
we
just
do a
look.
panoramic?
They can look at whichever way they want.
That'd be cool. So they could just focus on Mike's titty if they wanted to.
There you go.
There goes the demonetization. I fucked up.
Facebook just kicked us for sure. They're like, nipple, get out of here. Alright, let's get on track a little bit. We're trying to pick up from where we left off last week. You watched last week's podcast, right?
I did watch it, yes.
I watched your house this week and actually saw your notepad that had your notes in it.
Oh, really?
Put that away. I saw that you made notes, too, that you took notes on what we'd be talking about this week, what we talked about last week.
Things, eh?
Well, they were just sitting on top of his counter, where the notebook usually is, where we write.
Yeah, it was just a piece of paper sitting on the counter with things I wrote down to
Yeah,
look up.
it's not like Bolshevik revolution and shit like that.
You don't have to defend him.
Oh, yeah, we going to talk about that tonight?
Yeah, we can.
So,
Wall Street did it.
do you remember where we left off, Pete?
Yeah, I'll give
recap a little bit.
I'll give a quick recap. And last week I did use like a whole bunch of like names that are necessary to the case if you want to look at it in detail. But I think this time I'm going to talk a lot about like a lot of the stories more collectively, unless there's names you need to know, like
Right.
John DeCamp, the senator, or the head of like the Franklin Committee, like Lawrence Schmidt and guys like that. But as far as like juror number 3, I'm saying of 1982, like you don't need all that. But anyways, Franklin cover-up. I think where we left off, I'll take it back to the beginning. There was a man named Lawrence King. He was named the fastest rising star in the Republican Party. He sang the national anthem in 1984 and 1988 at the Republican National Convention. He was also the head of the Franklin Credit Union, which was in Nebraska, and it's was pretty much put there to give like loans to low-income families and everything. He was very suspicious character due to the fact that, like I said last week, he made $17,000, but at the same time, I'll just turn the label this way for now. He made $17,000 a year, but yet this guy was like spending like $100,000 in floral bills. He rented an apartment that was $5,000. He threw these like lavish parties. Once he rented out a lot in Dallas after the 1984 DNC that they actually shot the show Dallas in. Several things like that. Always had a new car, a lot of private planes. Anyways, the Federal Credit Union came crashing down in 1988. And after that, the IRS and the FBI raided it. They knew that Lawrence King was the head of it. So they went ahead and started investigating. They found out all these allegations beforehand in which he was accused of sexual child abuse. It went from there, and then a bunch of people got pulled into it. Alan Baer was a big name that was like kind of like a financer / business owner in the area. There was Eugene Mahoney, which was a state senator in Nebraska, which I actually found out today has a state park named after him. Robert Wadman, chief of police, was also named in it, and him and Lawrence King were very close. When the allegations came out, Robert Wadman went to the Omaha PD and said, like, cancel it. He tried everything he could do to bury it as much as possible. one of the earlier allegations before the credit union crash was in 1985, and it was Barbara and Jarrett Webb, who were two foster parents. They came, a couple of the kids came forward, said that they were being abused. There was child pornography in the house. Lawrence King was coming around the house, all of that. Jarrett Webb was actually on the board at the Franklin Credit Union, and Barbara Webb was actually his cousin. So there's that connection there. So he was basically using them to adopt these kids and bring them in. And then after that, he would go ahead and, they would funnel them out. He also had connections to Boys Town, which is like it's the equivalent of like Big Brothers, Big Sisters today, And Boys Town had an account with them. It was one of their bigger accounts, and he would use the boys from Boys Town to come to the Franklin Credit Union to file paper, sweep floors, like an after-school job. But really, he was using them and, doing his sick, twisted, and nefarious things with them. Let's see, it went to the Franklin Committee. John DeCamp was in it. Lawrence Schmidt was in it. And, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. Paul Benazzi came forward. All right, hold on. Let me retrack. All right, so I talked about the Webbs, right? And then there was Rusty Nelson, who was a photographer. And Rusty Nelson approached a young girl. She came to his house. She came with her mother. He took her picture. She was walking around, found a bunch of child pornography around the house. And then they did the investigation. Earl Carmine, who was a deputy with the Omaha PD, was the one that investigated. Came to find out that the house that Rusty Nelson was staying in was owned by Lawrence King. He up and left after 9 days. They couldn't find him. Later, Rusty Nelson went on the record and said that he was pretty much being threatened himself and was being used by Lawrence King. He did this all under the fear of that if he doesn't cooperate that they're going to kill him, basically. Right. And then there was Loretta Smith, who came forward. Many of these kids, Loretta Smith, for example, was giving a lie detector test. She passed. I talked about Paul Benazzi, who was a star witness, and Alicia Owens last week, who came forward. They were the two people that didn't redact their statements at all, but yet they went to jail and got charged with perjury. Alicia Owens was facing 15 years. And another thing I forgot to mention about Paul Benazzi is that the forensic team went ahead. He kept a journal through all this. Right, he was sold into sex slavery at age 6, and he kept a journal throughout it all. And they went ahead and they did forensic studies on it. Noted that it really was from the time he said it was. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a fraudulent piece of evidence that somebody went ahead and wrote up. Also, the Omaha. The Omaha World Herald, which was the local newspaper, was a huge proponent in covering up everything that was going on. Pretty much.
Was it the owner, the head editor there, that was friends with?
It was his name, Harold Anderson. Yeah, and then Peter Citron went to. Yeah, I mentioned this last week. Peter Citron went to jail on a different, on a child abuse or sexual child abuse. Got arrested for that, but at the time before the story broke, he had an open file of 90 allocations brought against him.
And he only did 2 years, didn't he?
I don't think. And what were those 2 years really? They opened up the Douglas grand jury. The grand jury was just staged as can be. Samuel Van Pelt was the head prosecutor, and later I think Michael Flanagan, the jury foreman, was the one that said that he pretty much, which is illegal, wrote the final report or the final conclusion of the grand jury. So, and both him, or both Alicia Owens, Paul Benazzi, and another big witness that also redacted eventually, but they got a lot of information out of him, was Danny King. And they all said that he threatened them. He, said that you'll serve jail time, probably threatened them with violence. He was accused by many people of hiding evidence. This book right here, where's the camera at? This book right here, Franklin Cover-Up by Senator John DeCamp. Read this book. It's really good because John DeCamp was actually on the Franklin Committee. And, I mean, look, I'm just taking, the meat out of all of this. Well, when it really comes down to it, there's over 100 testimonies, 100 police reports in this. There's a list of board members. They even go into the Omaha business community, which a lot of these people were paying into it. A lot of people had their own corruption. Like I said last week, like not everybody that was trying to cover it up was exactly involved in pedophilia. That was just one part of it. Like this has many facets to it. There's like the corruption. There's the mishandling of government public funds. There's abuse. There's drug peddling. All that's involved. The sickest part that gets most people's attention is the children being abused. Obviously,
right, yeah.
But there's plenty more that goes.
Government corruption and just
Right, and it doesn't stop. Like the book ends pretty much. First copy came out, I believe it was early '90s, and then John DeCamp added, updated the book. I think up to about like '98 when more things came out. For example, I didn't mention this last week, which I'll get into this. Troy Bonner, he was the one that said he testified against Alicia Owens when it was his. Well, he was supposed to testify. All right. Let me backtrack real quick. All right, now I'm getting a Bravo here. Gary Caradori was the head investigator. Gary Caradori was the guy that took all these statements from these kids.
Let's get weird.
Oh, whoa.
oh my god.
Hold on. We're making it even weirder.
Hey.
The Overlord.
That's pretty fucking tight. I like that.
That's so fucking trippy, man.
You look like the Wizard of Oz, Scott.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. Alright, what are we talking about, Pete?
Gary Caradori. Gary Caradori, lead investigator. He took the statements from Paul Benazzi, Alicia Owens, Troy Bonner, Danny King. Troy Bonner was going to go forward, but when it was his time to testify, he got pretty much taken into the room this is I'm not sure if this is the right person, but he was involved. Nick O'Hara, who was the Nebraska FBI, whatever you want, ambassador. You know what I'm saying? Like in charge, within the state of Nebraska, like the lead. Very close to Robert Wadman. A lot of people said that they're as close as 19 as to 20. So when all this allegation was coming out about Robert Wadman, the chief of police,
Right.
in Nebraska doing all of this, Nick O'Hara said pretty much like, you better cut this shit out, man. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from that. And then Chief Wadman was defending Lawrence King. But Troy Bonner redacted his statement right before he was about to testify. He went ahead and said Alicia Owens was lying. Later, there was by Yorkshire Productions, I mentioned this last week, which was supposed to air on Discovery Channel, was called Conspiracy of Silence, which was all about the Franklin cover-up, which right before it was in the TV guide, it was advertised, all of that, they pulled it because of pressure they were getting from congressmen, from authorities, all of that. So if you don't pull it, you're going to, face financial penalty or more. But he did go ahead and interview for that right there, and Yorkshire Productions, to make sure he was telling the truth, went ahead and gave him a lie detector test. I can't remember the name of the institute. Like I said, I'm going to leave a lot of these names out.
That's fine.
I'm just trying to give people the gist of it, and then you can look into it yourself. And also, let me make the statement, if anybody's watching this and you want more information, I will try in the comment section, and I'll put links there, maybe in the comment section of this video, so people can look into it more. But he took a lie detector test. He passed it. A lot of these kids took the lie detector test. They passed it. Troy Bonner then, after he did the Conspiracy of Silence, he got up with John DeCamp, who wasn't his original lawyer at the time of the actual Douglas grand jury testimony. But he wrote an affidavit where he pretty much said that he did lie under fear of death. His brother was killed, which he believes wasn't, like, his brother was killed, from what I hear, playing Russian roulette.
That was a plane accident, right?
No, but that's where I'm going next. Troy Bonner was one of the kids that was molested. Gary Caradori, however, went to Chicago with his son to meet Rusty Nelson. He, according to Lawrence Smith, the chairman of the Franklin Committee and the senator in the state of Nebraska, said that he was contacted by Caradori before he left saying, I got the smoking gun, I got the information. This is where it just gets discouraging for me to hear. You know, the whole story's sad, but this is like, God, is there any fucking hope? You know what I'm saying? Does any good ever come out of like anything? But he was there, he was flying back from Chicago, and his plane went up in flames. It exploded in midair. They ravaged the whole scene. His wife, Sandy Caradori, asked, you know, where's his briefcase that he always travels with? Because, you know, it's speculated he went to get the negatives of all the pictures that he had. And Troy Bonner even said in his affidavit that he knows that the FBI has photographs of him and Alan Baer together, the financer / business owner that was very close with Lawrence King, because he'd seen them in possession of the FBI. The grand jury was completely sealed, and not only that, but within 48 hours after Caradori was killed, they went to his wife Sandy Caradori's house and pretty much confiscated everything around the house. And then let's go from there, man. We can open it up.
So it straight up sounds like a covert assassination and then cover up of just stealing his shit.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely, dude. Hold on, there's a couple of.
It's the American way, man.
That is the American way. It's like you were talking about with Trump's uncle and Tesla, kind of the same thing. Just immediately go in there and ransack and take whatever it is they need, whether it's for personal gain or to keep themselves from being thrown under the bus.
Oh yeah, like put it this way: if we found out like about anything, like the government is like, you know, whatever, selling children, and we came forward, dude, they would be able to squash our statements like that. You know, thank God for the internet now. I've said that several times. Like, at least now with the internet, you know, until we get censored there, but we can get a message out better than before.
I've heard whispers that like Schuster from Linkin Park and Bourdain and Chris Cornell were about to speak out about like Hollywood pedophilia and shit like that. And then, you know, they all conveniently committed suicide not long after that.
Right. Yeah.
And right around the same time.
Yeah, all right around the same time too.
Yeah, there's a lot of fishy deaths in this whole story. Also, Lawrence King never got subpoenaed at all during all of this. They didn't subpoena him, and their reasoning was he'd probably plead the fifth. And I said, who gives a shit? Bring him to court, you know what I'm saying? Make him, you know, face these, you know, people.
At least make him sweat.
Yeah. Like, he did time for, you know, financial mishandlings or whatever. And actually, when the case was breaking, they moved him for mental evaluation to, I think it was like somewhere in Minnesota, where he was in like a psych ward or something like that. Also, fun fact, Lawrence King, last seen, he's in the Virginia area, Sterling, Virginia. There is a.
Let's go visit him, man.
Yeah, dude. He was working for.
Could be the next podcast.
Oh yeah, let's get him on the show. You know what I'm saying? Get him. Yeah, I mean, he's still active, and I'm sure like none of these guys got locked up, so they're all out there. You know, for the most part. You know, whoever they didn't kill, is out there. Craig Spence is one of the guys, and there was a Washington Post article in which I think. And I talked about this last week, like homosexual prostitution, Reagan Bush White House. Okay. Craig J. Spence, who was, I guess you could say he was just like a political, like just rubbed elbows with the elites. But he was running them in and out, and he apparently committed suicide. But all these suicides are just, you know, whenever anybody's involved in a scandal, and they commit suicide, eyebrows got to go up,
yeah,
you know.
It's very convenient.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple cases of people that just got to him, and they were like, you know, I can't go through with this, and then fucking kill themselves. But it's definitely too many for it to all be that. You know what I mean? It's like too many coincidences.
Well, maybe they have something. Hey, we'll kill your whole family if you do this, and they can't live with the guilt of knowing it, and so.
That's true too. Yeah. That's true too.
Yeah, that's like the thing.
It's a little bit of both.
About Troy Bonner, dude, is like he just was like, you know, he didn't want to like risk his his family's safety, but eventually he was like, man, enough's enough, you know what I'm saying? This like can't go untold. And like the thing about it, man, it doesn't stop after 96. You know, like the people that didn't, like the book ends basically around 96, but it carried on, you know, like they passed the torch to the next guy, you know. Epstein was still doing his thing at the time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm sure plenty of
They're
the people
all
in this
friends,
book cross paths with each
yeah,
other.
yeah,
No doubt
sure,
about it.
sure.
Like they were hanging with the Bushes are friends with the Clintons are friends with Epstein. You know what I mean? Like it's never ending, man. Like
The
we
Clintons
said.
and the Trumps and the Epstein.
And
all friends.
Epstein's, yeah, man.
All the rich people are friends.
Yeah.
It's a big club, and you're not in it.
Yeah. Damn straight, dude. But, yeah, Lawrence King, he was working.
Before you keep going, do you guys have any questions for Pete? He asked me what I thought.
We're right
I'll
up
let
to
y'all
date.
talk.
No.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy that he's still in Sterling, Virginia. He was, there is I'm sure a lot of people that are listening probably heard it. Y'all heard the last podcast on the left?
No.
Last podcast on the left? No. What's his name? Harry Simbrowski's a comedian that does it. But I think 3 or 4 guys, they do a podcast that is pretty much they talk horror movies like what we're doing, conspiracy theories and all of that. And they actually do a 2-part episode on the Frank cover-up. And it is kind of comical what they do. But they talk about the Frank cover-up 2-parter, and they even said at the end of their podcast that he was last seen in Sterling, Virginia, I think a BMW dealer. He was actually working at Honey Baked Hams in Western Virginia, as I think as a manager. He got fired from there. Excuse me.
I'm looking his address up real quick.
Here, dude.
Can we release that on the podcast?
Dude, we should go on. What's that? My Life. Like I've been trying to get like all that information, but it's like mylife.com pretty much like has them there, but you gotta like it's like a background check and stuff like
you gotta
that.
pay for it.
You gotta pay for it. But
it's not worth my money.
Yeah, right. I'm willing to pay 1 month. You know what I'm saying, to go ahead and just.
I'll go heckle him with you though if you
Oh
want.
let's send them
Yes,
some.
heckle.
Yeah. Let's send them some like letters and everything. But Opera VA, which is like, okay. Here's one too. DC. There's a magazine that comes out in DC where he was in, and like the issue had like Obama on the cover and everything, and it's pretty much it's like DC Luxury Goods, I think was the name of it, and he's in there with his wife, and then Opera VA. Is like an organization that like spreads like opera to people, which would make sense because he has a very operatic voice. Like when he's saying,
Right, he's saying
yeah, you can go on C-SPAN and see him sing the 1984.
Once I get through with him.
yeah, right. Throat punch. But
You're gonna heckle him that bad?
Yeah, probably. No,
are you gonna make him cry?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at making people cry, really.
Yeah,
Just girls.
You just show him your pecker.
Yeah, and they start crying. They run away crying.
So how does this tie into, on the book it says child abuse, Satanism, and murder in Nebraska?
man. I can read you some. I can find some testimonies real quick and like read you like Loretta Smith and like her testimony.
So how does the Satanism tie into it?
Oh,
That's what I wanna know.
dude, I'm just like, I didn't really get into the graphic details, but Paul Bonazzi, which they mention in the book, has a story about how he was flown with a group of other kids to this place in California.
Sacrifice the kid, right?
Right, yeah,
Like
yeah.
little kids, and they would have the other kids sacrifice the kids for them.
Right.
And
There's
like drink the blood of the one that was sacrificed.
yeah, like there. All right, one of the earlier the girl that was in the psych ward that was interviewed by Oral Carmine said that she was she went to these parties at there was Boys Town, there was Girls Town. He went to the party. There was always a bunch of men. She was taken. After a while, they would sign a list. They would like go to this private party. She said eventually she was put in a room with an infant baby. They beheaded the baby. They stuck the baby's head in the room, and they said, if you can go ahead and withstand this, then you've passed the initiation. The kids tell stories about also that there were kids that were pretty much like hanging by their hands, and drenched in gasoline, and the kids would have to go up with candles and light them on fire. Paul Bonazzi was talking about, and his part of the story is really fucked up, but he was talking about how Bohemian Grove, apparently what it was is they were made to wear, as he describes, tar sand skirts. You know what I'm saying? Like made of like leaves and brush and everything.
Like a loincloth.
Yeah, and they went there. They put this kid in there, in which they all forced each other to sodomize them, abuse them. When it was done, one of the guys shot him in the head. They cut his dick off and put it in one of the kids' mouths, and then after that they recorded the whole thing. And apparently the guy who shot the tape was named as Hunter Thompson. So Yeah, I mean, just the endless, just there's a lot of stuff like that. Troy Bonner talked about how like they would shove like grapefruits inside of them, and like pretty much they were trying to. Oh yeah, there's one part in the part about Bohemian Grove when he was flown to this wooded California area where after they shot the kid, they said roll him off the bridge. The guys in the hoods will take care of him. Whatever that means, but it's all about the cloaks, the hoods, and all that.
Right.
Like I said, man, this you can see this is a pretty thick book, man. There's a lot of information there, man, and I've read it all, but I mean, it's just one. After a while, it just kind of just like blends together. It's like one disgusting thing after the other. Alicia Owens, one of the witnesses, claims that Robert Wadman was she had a kid, was the father of her kid, and he never had a DNA test. And Robert Wadman's active. He actually went to North Carolina to be the sheriff. And here's the thing, though. All these people claim defamation of character and slander. Nobody won any of the defamation and slander cases except for John DeCamp, the writer of the book, when a North Carolina network was accusing them and saying it's rubbish and this, that, and the other. And he was the one that actually won a defamation case. And I have an article, where is it? Right here. About, and this came out like not long ago. Where's it at? This was March 19th. Stunning breakthrough reached in the Nebraska satanic pedophile case, where John DeCamp defended Paul Benazzi, and he actually won $1 million civil suit against Lawrence King. How much Paul Benazzi collected of that? Probably nothing. But still, I mean, it's worth looking at. But yeah, all these kids said that they were involved in Satanism, Luciferian practices. Like a lot of it was just, like you by taking over something weaker than you, or consuming something, or killing something you love, you become more powerful. Kind of like the was it from Fear and Loathing, the adrenochrome or whatever. Right. Yeah. Like that. Like when he says, "I got it from one of my Satanist clients," and everything like that.
Satanist freak.
Yeah, man. Let's see.
I think it's something to do with it's some sort of weird sex magic. They're trying to steal people's youth, steal people's energy. It's energy vampire shit.
And this book does also mention Michael Aquino, which I told you, who was a lieutenant colonel in the Army, who was in charge of basically psychological warfare, and he founded the Temple of Set, and he was really close with Anton LaVey, who was also the head of the Satanic Church, and they talk about the an Air Force ground, I think it was. I should have highlighted this shit a little better, but where's it at? I'll find it later. Like I said, I'm sure the more we do this podcast, this stuff will come up, you know what I'm saying? And I plan, you're wearing hoodie goodies. I was planning on writing an article for hoodie goodies anyways. And once I get an article out there, we can go through it, you know what I'm saying? I'll have it more organized. But like I said, man, to anybody listening, it's a lot of information. Look at the facts yourself. Read the book.
I'm trying to give you a glorified book report, basically.
Yeah. This is nothing more than a book report. This is everything that I know and everything I can remember.
And Pete's not related to the DeCamp family. He's not getting any royalties for this. He's not.
No, if anything, I might be on a hit list now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I might be one of those suspicious suicides.
So, Andy, the reason you kind of wanted to come on and talk is because you had seen how this tied into Bohemian Grove and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know a whole lot about it, and I had a hard time finding a little more information about Bohemian Grove. It's pretty secretive. Mm-hmm. I'm mostly just here to learn. I like conspiracy theories, and that's why I wanted to be here last week too. So I'm just kind of here to take the class.
Okay. All right. Here's a passage from the book right here. This is in the Drugs in the Monarch Project section, where it says Paul Benazzi and other child victims have giving evidence in great depth of the central role of Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino in the depravity. Aquino alleged to have recently retired from an active military was a long leader of an Army psychological warfare section, which drew on the expertise and personal practices in brainwashing, Satanism, Nazism, homosexual pedophilia, murder. Former director of the CIA asked directly, "What about Monarch?" He replied angrily, ambiguously, "We stopped between late 1960s and early 70s. If a statement of fact, this would be presumably relate to the official participation of the CIA." Yeah, like the Monarch.
Sounds like he was involved with MK Ultra.
Yeah, and that's all these kids were pretty much. Yeah, you're like, well, if these kids were, kind of in a lot of these stories free to move around, why didn't they go away? It's just like, well, you can say like, well, why didn't the kid that's been touched by why didn't he come forward earlier? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just. It's a lot for a kid to process, especially when they say, you tell anybody we're going to kill your family, you know what I'm saying? What else do they really have? Plus, they're fueling them full of drugs. Troy Bonner. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this. Troy Bonner, after the book came out, ran into a New Mexico hospital where he was holding the book and saying that they're after me, they're after me, they're after me. They put him in a private room. When they came to check him in the morning, he was dead with blood rushing out of his nose. All that, just weird shit all the way around.
Weird coincidences.
Yeah, watch Conspiracy of Silence. It was taken off
Discovery. Discovery.
Yeah. At the time, it was banned from Discovery, but someone was able to pretty much leak or restore a copy, refurbish it. Johnny Camp mentions in the book that a copy was sent to him. He was very satisfied with the production and everything and which it addresses. And it's on YouTube. However, there are certain reels in it that are missing, but still, I mean, you can watch it and understand everything.
And Discovery got paid millions of dollars because they had spent millions of dollars on making this film, and then they're like, well, you got to pull it. Well, we need our money, so there's even like proof that they were paid to not put it out.
Right. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Oh yeah, and then even America's Most Wanted around the time of late '80s. Early 90s did a couple episodes, and John DeCamp really salutes, I think his name was Paul Sparrow, who was a producer on the show, saying that, he was a great man, he was really trying to make a difference, but after a while of tiptoeing around the case, he was approached by the FBI, which obviously America's Most Wanted works very closely with the authorities, police departments, and all of that, to the point that he said, we got to kind of take a back seat to this. But I mean, John DeCamp didn't have anything bad to say about him. He understood, saying, like everybody else that didn't want to come forward, they got families, they got reputations, they got a living to make, So, I mean, it's just fucking crazy shit, dude. Yeah, just, like Troy Bonner, they hooked him on heroin. So, I mean, I don't, like...
Was there a lot of LSD involved with this shit?
Oh, sure, yeah. They didn't mention LSD as much. They mentioned a lot of coke and heroin, pretty much.
Yeah, a lot of times in like the sex trafficking stuff, it's always heroin or something.
Yeah, they're trying to keep you hooked.
Yeah, something that'll like hook you hardcore, and then it makes you dependent on them.
Yeah, I get that aspect. I thought there was some kind of. I thought there was like cases or instances of people getting fed LSD before these like sex acts or before these like. MK Ultra kind of mind control, brainwash acts and shit like that.
Any of y'all True Detective fans?
So,
True Detective, the show on HBO.
I've never seen it.
Oh, great fucking show!
I
know you started watching it. Came on HBO. The first season has Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson and Dora Lane. Yeah, fucking good cast already, right? And it's pretty much about a case in like the 80s, I think, was Dora Lane got murdered. Actually, if you watch the show, the symbol that's carved into her back is a pedophilic symbol. There's a lot of them. There's like, and the FBI has actually released this information and confirmed it because obviously, like groups like NAMBLA, which a lot of people don't think it's real, right? Like, yeah. I didn't know it was real. I thought it was a joke when I first watched like, South Park and everything like that. But no, North America Man-Boy Lover Association and groups like that use symbols because they can't openly talk about their pedophilia. And like she has the spiral carved on her back, and she was like a sacrifice. And the show pretty much they believe it's based upon the Franklin cover-up. The rabbit hole. You're like, well, the lady that killed was like a 20-year-old prostitute, but you're like, what's this got to do with Franklin cover-up? The rabbit hole gets deeper, just like what we talked about. Every show, True Detective, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, kind of. And how it ends up is pretty cool, and there's a lot of connections that I can watch that show and go, hey, that's probably Lawrence King, or, that's Alan Bear right there, or that's, Eugene Mahoney. So
on the third season, they like reference the...
Yeah. On the third season, they actually, in which takes place in Nebraska, they mention Franklin cover-up by name. And Also, West Memphis 3. Or what's that? Yeah, West Memphis 3. They kind of like pale it. Are you familiar with that one? It's the story. HBO did a documentary. What's his name? Eklund. The 3 kids, and there was 2 boys that were like massacred in like a satanic matter, and they put it on these 3 teenagers that lived there because basically they wore Black Sabbath T-shirts and listened to heavy metal music and read about Crowley, saying and
I think I remember something about this.
Yeah, now the main dude, Eklund. Something Eklund is now friends with Johnny Depp. A lot of people came forward not long ago in their defense. I know he hangs out with Marilyn Manson and shit like that. So, rough story. He was in solitary confinement, but at least there's kind of a happy ending. He gets to hang out with movie stars and rock stars. So, that's good. A lot of people believe they did do it. So, I don't know. But they're mentioned in it. Kind of. I digress though. But yeah, it's pretty wicked shit, dude. Yeah. Wild. Oh yeah. Okay. And since I'm just rambling on, keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your show, not mine. It's the people's show.
Bill Colby, or William Colby, who was the head of the CIA, who was very close with the camp, was actually not mysteriously murdered, but people say that he was.
Has he been fucking with it the whole time? Just like shaking.
It's been going back and forth. It feels like.
I've been feeling it happening. Like I'll be tuned into Pete, and like I can feel it happening behind me. And I go to laugh about it because I know it looks funny. But like, no focus. Pete's talking about pedophilia. If you bust out laughing right now, people are gonna think you're fucked up, bro.
I don't think it's too distracting.
They shoved a grapefruit up his ass.
making a lot of small changes, just trying to tweak it.
No, it's cool, man.
But I haven't. It's like I don't think it. I'm enthralled by the conversation. So I don't think the listeners can.
But Bill Colby, John DeCamp said, I'm only going off my gut feeling, but he was boating, I think, around his summertime home or vacation home in Maryland, and he had a heart attack, and they dragged his body out of the lake. But they said that the way they found his apartment, the TV was left on, the computer was left on, his dinner was half eaten. He said that Bill Colby was the most meticulous, most crafted, strategic, organized person you've ever met. It's completely out of character to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kind of like, where'd Pete go? And, the coffee table's flipped over and the TV's, got cracked across. You'd be like, hey, I don't think Pete just, got out of town. And plus, I believe he left and didn't really tell anybody about it, which is also kind of out of character for him. So, I mean, just another thing to add to it. Kathleen Sorsen is another name. Now I'm just naming names, but she was one of the people that eventually adopted the people that stayed at the Webb's house, Lawrence King's family members, his cousin and everything, and she went forward. She actually ended up going on, was it Phil Donahue's show, and some of the talk shows and talking about it. Sick shit, dude. Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of names, a lot of powerful people.
Yeah, and George Bush is mentioned by Alicia Owens. She said that
Bush and Reagan are. So how does this tie in Iran-Contra? That's the better question that I should ask.
I don't know, dude. It's kind of the Iran-Contra part, man. Don't really. I guess a lot of the money they believe that was
kind of a reach. The Iran-Contra part of it.
I guess just at that time, because of everything that was going on with the Reagan-Bush White House, they just thought that a lot of the money that was coming out of the Franklin Credit Union was used towards it. He does mention Gary Webb in the book, who is the guy that broke the story.
It would make sense if they were human trafficking and trying to keep people addicted to coke,
right,
and shit like that. For there to be some sort of CIA connection. The Iran-Contra, they were selling cocaine to fund these guns. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wonder if that's part of the people that they were selling coke to is these human traffickers and shit like that. It's all part of the grand scheme, right?
Right.
I don't know. They're selling coke to everybody.
Yeah, they were selling coke to everybody, but it makes sense that would be a piece of the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Let me check.
We'll give it to the human traffickers too to keep their.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. Let me check this real quick. in the meantime, we were talking about NAMBLA. Have you all ever heard of Allen Ginsberg?
I do recognize
I know that name, yeah.
Yeah, he was a poet. He hung around with Timothy Leary a lot. Yeah, man, he was huh? Oh, bless you, bro.
He was a kid fucker, wasn't he?
Huh?
He was a kid fucker, wasn't he?
Yeah. He actually spoke at NAMBLA, dude. And he hung out with Johnny Depp a lot, dude.
I think I learned that from like Law and Order SVU or something like that.
Right.
I like that we went from using proper terms to kid fucker right off the get. Like your style, sir.
Hey, man.
That's what he is.
Exactly what he is.
Exactly.
Really calling him a pedophile is cleaning it up too much. You're,
All right.
you're a kid fucker.
Let's see. Wait 1 second.
Allen Ginsberg. I do recognize that name.
Homie of yours.
Uncle Allen.
Is that where you got your
Allen.
van?
Yeah, yep. Allen Ginsberg. That's who I bought my van from. He left the meat hooks in there.
That's what A. Ginsberg means.
I guess like it's like the Monarch Project and everything like that.
The Monarch Project. What is that?
Like the mind control thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It says, here's the part where it kind of like talks about it. So was Larry King's buddy George Bush the country's drug king? Yeah, here it is, right here. So was Larry King's buddy George Bush the country's drug kingpin in the 1980s? I don't know, but I do know is that if Bush were running the Contra affair and drugs were a big part of it, that it would certainly jibe 100% with everything known or rumored about Bush, Larry King, and the Franklin Credit Union. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, she's pretty popular now, and Representative Harold James are right. Let's investigate. So it's pretty much like, yeah, kind of like what you said. If they were running all these drugs using the kids, you know what I'm saying, and the Bush was involved with it, and the Reagan White House at the time, you know what I'm saying. Like I said, like I've read it, but I got to read it again.
It's a lot to digest.
It's a lot to grasp, you know. So
basically, just endless corruption, pedophilia on all levels, corporate and political.
And here's the thing: nothing's changed. Just the names, man. That's it. Dude.
Yeah. Even some of those probably haven't changed. Right. Certain people are probably in power or popular today because they kept quiet or stopped pushing buttons.
Right, dude. Some wicked shit.
Yeah.
But man, hold on.
What do you think, Mike?
I think it's all fucked up.
Well, I would hope that you think that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
just
like
look into it for yourselves, though. Like,
yeah, don't listen.
That's what anything, any bit of information. Always look into it. Check your sources.
Oh yeah, don't believe a damn thing I'm saying.
Yep.
All right, just look at me as like just I might as well be standing on a soapbox and just screaming into the sky
for information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because, you know.
Help them plant that bug in someone's ear. What do you want to talk about, Mike? You want to talk about Bolshevik revolution, don't you?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
How do lizard people tie into this, Pete?
Someone said, speaking of conspiracy, did you know your asshole can stretch up to 8 inches, meaning a raccoon could crawl inside it if you wanted it to? There's a lot of speculation behind this. You guys should debunk it.
Tell that to the guy who tried to stick a fucking pickle jar up his ass. Well, I take that back. He got the jar up his ass, didn't he?
I'm sure that jar was bigger than 8 inches around.
Yes.
And then, Jesus.
Somebody said that in the live
Man,
stream.
like, all right, so...
Somebody wants to debunk raccoon.
If the raccoon could fit in your ass.
So, like, yeah, man, like, the Franklin cover-up is a hard conversation to talk about and keep it light, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
I don't think it is to be taken lightly.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Bohemian Grove was involved. We should do a whole thing about Bohemian Grove, because Bohemian Grove was, like, exactly, like, it was kind of like a place where, like, artists went and scholars went and writers and all that, you know, and they kind of like, you know, kind of like Hollywood at the beginning, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we're like intellectuals and everything like that. Then it became like a ground for just like the elitists to just, you know what I'm saying, do their thing.
To do weird occult shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, too, is I wonder how much, I mean, obviously with the, you know, the kidnapping and stealing of children and child fucking is obviously evil and devilish, but I wonder how much like Bohemian Grove or behind the scenes weird shit that some of them do is just occult.
I would love to go to
weird
Bohemian Grove.
stuff that's not Christian So,
Christian is technically cult too.
Yeah, exactly.
My question is it actually working? Because these people have been in power for so long.
Yeah.
Like, does it actually work, or is this just some dumb shit that they think works?
And two,
What,
is
the
what
Bohemian
came
Grove?
first?
Bohemian Grove, all this occult stuff with the elite, the Illuminati. Shit,
I
all
mean,
that. Like,
They're willing to fight wars over it. So
Right.
I'm kind of convinced that some of it works to an extent.
Like, I think when you got enough people together in secrecy, who have like means to and connections to like power and whatever resources, you can make it. Like look at the mafia. You know what I'm saying? Or look how long the KKK's been together. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that are politicians and firefighters and the babysitter of your children might be involved. That's why they wear hoods. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like you said, is it working? It's like, well, then you got people that have this generational wealth, like the Bushes, like the Clintons, like the Kennedys, who are like birthed into it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're basically like American royalty. So, if you take the mafia, they're like, street dudes, saying still, they come up and they're able to like do their thing. And the KKK is a bunch of country bumpkins, but at the same time, they're able to do it on low level. And these guys already got that leg up just, having just having whatever last name that they have, So, I mean, I think it's just working just because I don't know if the occultism that they're practicing is working as much as that, they're just, maybe it is, but
maybe it just ties them all together so they gotta all support each other, and otherwise, hey, we got this video of you
right
that's
fucking
what
this
I was
kid.
saying.
Well, yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know you listened to last week's podcast, but that's what I was talking about. It's like not everybody that was trying to cover it up was like involved with like the pedophilia in particular, but it's just like, this politician has a family and he fucks dudes, you know what I'm saying? And this guy likes blow, and this guy likes, 20-year-old Brazilian prostitutes, you know what I'm saying? So, right. But he's not supposed to because he's running on God, family, country. Yeah. So,
Patrice O'Neal said Brazilian prostitutes are the best prostitutes.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I believe him.
I believe him too. He used to take trips down there just for them.
We can debunk that on the next podcast.
We're gonna take a trip to Brazil.
Yeah. We'll debunk the Brazilian prostitute and the anal raccoon
well,
in the same.
The anal raccoon.
In order to,
you're in the bathroom.
Damn it, I missed it.
In order to
someone
do that,
left
we're
a
gonna have
comment
to take trips
about
all around the world and just
how wide the anus can
hookers for
stretch.
every fucking
Pretty wide.
corner of the earth.
We can do that podcast. Call it Enjoy the Tip.
Hey, what's her? Sarah Lynn Hollers said, "Want to hear y'all talk about New World Order, Agenda 21 and shit." That'd be a good one. Agenda 21. Are you familiar? Yeah. I know.
I gotta do some research on it.
The rise of Bolshevism.
Is Sarah Lynn still listening?
Into Agenda 21.
Isn't that the one you've been talking to me about?
What I've been talking to you about a bunch.
I know we've been talking about it.
It's all a collective in my brain.
That's the the one with the Walmart.
Yeah,
shit.
Agenda 21 is like a United Nations agenda to downsize the population and.
Yeah, I'm honestly not against that per se.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's cool until you're the one that gets downsized.
Honestly, man, if that's what it comes
Dude,
down to,
I'm willing to do it as far as like.
I think a third of us need to just be going.
I'm willing to do it as far as like education, birth control. Don't like Kearns was talking last week, pump gas, off the top of St. Louis or whatever. Yeah. Dude.
I still think that there's ways that they're trying to do shit like that. It's just we're giving you the tools to be an instrument of your own demise. I don't have to pump fucking gas.
The coronavirus might do it for us.
If I've turned transgender into a fucking fad, a cultural fad, and everybody's cutting their dick off or what the fuck ever. And I'm not.
We're slowing down the reproduction.
Exactly.
Hey, you want
at the base?
Down the reproduction.
Don't get that. What I just said twisted. There's not a homophobic thing or nothing. That's literally like when you become gay, you do not reproduce anymore unless you like get inseminated. So, and if you're a man and a man on man, you can't reproduce. You can only adopt. So I'm not saying that like I'm against it. I'm just saying the fact that when you are gay, you do not further the population.
Well, see, I think that's the world's way of kind of like balancing out the population for itself. The world knows that we are way over capacity, and I think maybe it's like,
I travel 95 every day, trust me.
Exactly, yeah. Human evolution. So, like, boom, like, these people aren't gonna, like, right off the bat have kids with each other. So, you know, I think it's part of human evolution, and that's why I feel like maybe there are more gay people than there ever were before. Maybe there's just more open about it. Who knows? I don't know what that percentage was before and now, but yeah, I mean, it's just a theory.
Yeah,
it's a theory.
It's
and
more
again,
so
there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah, I don't have anything against trans or gay people either.
You're saving me from paying for your kids, so thank you very much.
It does
Actually,
seem like at a certain point,
abortion's the same way. Abortion's helping take out the population as well.
I feel at a certain point though, with those topics, that there comes I don't know who the fuck it's from, but that there's a certain agenda with it or something. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain normal. Not to say it isn't normal, but there's a certain something that they try to do to just to really fucking instill that in people's brains and turn it into fads almost.
I think I see what you're talking. I feel like kind of like every TV show has a gay character.
A lot
in
of
it now,
people
or that are there, but I think that's more so people realizing there are actually more gay people than you thought, and that gives younger gay children, you know, a role model or somebody that they can look up to and be like, hey, like. Maybe it's not such a big deal for me, and you know I'm all right with that. I definitely am.
And I also think it's like kind of like marketing too. It's like now that they're acknowledging that, like you said, there's gay people out there, so let's give them a character to look at. You know what I'm saying?
It's also probably a money grab too.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. That's exactly what I was going to. Like when was it Kylie Jenner and like when the whole Black Lives Matter protest was going on, and they did the Pepsi commercial with her. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a money grab, but that was them trying to go like, hey, we're shining a light on the issue. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Hollywood just wants what pays. I don't really think they care about quotas or diversity. They just said like whattever makes us seem trendy.
Yeah, if they did a market study and there's like, we need no minorities in these movies now. That's exactly what's going to happen. Like if that's what's selling, that's what they're going to do. So.
Oh yeah,
right. No, that's true too.
Yeah, everything goes in phases.
My thing is like them doing like Gay Pride Month, like LGBT awareness and shit like that on Cartoon Network. Like I've literally passed Cartoon Network, and they've had like the rainbow flag Cartoon Network logo, and yeah, maybe there is gay kids and shit like that, but why are you? There needs to be no sexuality. Why the fuck is there sexuality with children at all? It's not because it's homosexuality. It's cut the word homo out. Why is there sexuality in any form or fashion being shoved down children's throats?
Because even kids of that age are playing doctor and this, that, and the other. You know, like that's when kids are exploring their bodies. And I kind of got to disagree with you a little bit on it, but
I was talking to somebody about this shit the other night, and I definitely felt like I was sounding crazy a little bit.
No, you don't sound crazy at all. I get what you're saying 100%. I see your standpoint. I just think that it's healthy as a society for everybody to, within reason, to feel accepted. I
just think that's the next thing. That's the next weird little fucking agenda that they're trying to push. First, it was up until the 1990s. It was not that I have a problem with gay people. I have gay friends, but up until the 1990s, it was considered like a mental illness to be homosexual, right? And then it took forever until I was in middle school before they legalized gay marriage, right? Then the next thing, once they got that, it was like, all right, now they started really pushing the transgender thing. You know what the next fucking thing is that they're going to start pushing?
Pedophilia.
They're going to start sexualizing fucking children.
Already are,
and they're already doing it.
Yo.
And people have made me try to think I'm fucking crazy when I talk about that. I'm like, no,
all right, you're drunk. Stop it.
Show me Cadillac. Ding, ding, ding.
But it's true.
That was a Family Feud.
No, yeah.
I'm listening to you.
Richard Dawson.
Totally,
me too.
Steve Harvey, dude.
A pedophile?
No, Richard Dawson used to kiss all the women.
I love Richard Dawson.
I feel like this whole
bell-bottom
exchange we just had in 30 seconds went off the rail. I hit the table, he hit the table.
Long microphone.
I did a Family Feud.
Look,
he's talking about
and I don't
pedophile.
hate, I don't think transgender is totally a fad. And I don't think that homosexuality is totally a fad, but I think at a certain level, for some people, it has culturally become a fad because people are weak-minded and people will do anything to be fucking accepted. Here's another thing that makes me think it's a fad is how many transgender people get a surgery and do this shit and then end up killing themselves afterwards because they're unhappy with what the fuck they did.
Because you still look like a man, you don't have a penis.
I'll say this. One thing, like, I don't really give a shit if, someone's, of age, 18 years old, wants to cut their dick off. But when you got like 7-year-olds being pumped full of like hormones or estrogen and stuff like that,
right,
that's where
until they're going through puberty.
Yeah. Before they even hit puberty, like that's fucked up.
Well, how are you gonna tell a fucking kid that they? How are you gonna tell people they can't smoke until they're 21?
Right.
Yet an 8-year-old can take hormones.
Here's the thing: we don't let kids decide what they eat, what their bedtime is. You know what I'm saying? How much TV they want to watch, but we're gonna let them make a decision that's going to affect and be permanent for the rest of their life. It just seems like it's ass backwards to me.
They're not allowed to get a tattoo until they're 18.
Right. Like, I don't get that. And if you ask me, that's not about the kids at all. That's about the parents. That's about the parents want to look progressive and they want to look fucking woke and they want to look brave and stunning and you know what I'm saying, like it's just it's
that's what happened too is parents are using their kids as a novelty.
Oh no, dude,
to their own fucking life.
Yeah, I don't, and
exploited their children for Facebook likes.
Right.
Like I said, I don't have a problem with transgender people. I have transgender friends.
Do you?
I think it's great. Yeah, I have friends who, I just. Mike's transgender. You didn't know?
Heard my beer queef.
But
hey, dude, great transition, dude.
No, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that there's do what you want, do as thou will. But there seems to be a certain agenda with it at a certain point in pop culture, whereas sexuality as a whole is getting shoved down kids' throats.
Oh yeah.
And that's where the problem lies with.
Well, I mean, like look at like even if you look at it like you got like 8-year-old, 10-year-olds looking at Nicki Minaj and Lady Gaga and Miley Cyrus and listening to their music. You know what I'm saying? Like she went from like Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, one of those, and the next thing you know, she's fucking licking a sledgehammer. You know what I'm saying? And half naked, riding a wrecking ball and shit like that. So it's just like. Yeah, I mean that's not like okay. Here's a perfect example about sexuality. Like I didn't realize. Remember Britney Spears when she first came out? Hit Me, Baby, One More Time.
Yeah, she was like 16.
She was fucking 16. I was like 10. So to me, 16 was like a full-grown adult.
Yeah, but you weren't trying to have sex at 16, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely was.
But that's like kind of like the beginning of like pushing like.
Well, my dad was sexualizing Britney Spears when she came out with that video and was on MTV and shit. I remember my dad.
She sexualized herself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But was she, or was her parents? Was it like?
So yeah, I don't know her whole story, but like, I mean,
it's a little bit of both. She had to sign a contract at a certain point and agree
or her parents went, hey, get in there.
We all make our own decisions.
Make daddy some
money. We all make our own decisions, and that's kind of where I stand.
But like my point is like 16, dude. Is still underage, and she's like doing the schoolgirl thing, every guy's fantasy. And it's just like,
Oh, baby. Why is that every guy's fantasy?
Okay,
it's not mine.
Many guys' fantasy. The Catholic
much wilder.
It might be a nurse, you know what I'm saying? It might be, I don't know. But it's like looking back on that, like that was like you said, they're pushing pedophilia first at 16, and then, they'll have a 13-year-old girl there, and then they'll, what I'm saying, like, what's that Cash Me Outside girl? She's like fucking 15,
She's
14.
18 now.
She 18 now?
Not that I know that. I think I saw something saying like
Andy's
bad
head,
Barbie is now 18. This, that,
I don't think
other.
so, man.
She might not be. Or even a better one, like
Sarah Lynn Hollers. She's still listening. Thank you so much. She just said, as far as Britney Spears thing, MK Ultra probably played a big role with her. Yeah. I agree. Thank you, Sarah.
I think some of that shit's straight up.
Or her parents just forced her into. Yeah, it's like that documentary talk about the open secret, man, where it's talking about all like Hollywood is nothing more than a open secret. I don't know if you talk.
I'm not aware of that.
Well, it's on YouTube, but it's pretty much about how it's on YouTube, but it was like actually a production. But it's pretty much about how Hollywood's just nothing more than a grooming ground for pedophiles. You know what I'm saying? And how like all these kids come through there, and you know they're used up by the directors, the producers, because they're left alone with these people that the parents trust.
Right.
I mean, probably the same thing happened with her. But MK Ultra, yeah, Sarah Lynn Hollers.
I mean, what's the dude's name that directed?
Weinstein.
What's that?
Harvey. Talking about him.
Well, yeah, Harvey Weinstein. He just got hemmed up with, right? He just got charged with all that shit finally, or
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly and Chase even said when we were talking about the kids, the parents pushing it. She said, "I think it's a form of Munchausen. You know what I'm talking about?
Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah. Syndrome. And yeah, probably. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like they want to, like the parents want to feel either heroic, or they want to be like, oh, my kid is, you know, going to be almost they make the kid the martyr so they can look like the hero.
like I said, I don't have a problem with transgender people. I'm a fucking hippie. I believe that the world is but a stage. God is neither a man or a woman. He is God is an infinite amorphous being that's non-binary, and that I am a reflection of God. Therefore, I'm
Non-binary.
asexual. Like, you know what I mean? Like I am. What the fuck ever.
Are you about to call yourself asexual?
Yeah, I was gonna say asexual,
So you
but that's
just-
the opposite of
So
what
you
I was
just
saying.
reproduce?
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I believe that, like, do what the fuck you want. Wear a dress. Do the thing. Like, I don't care. Play the game. It's all a play. But when you start pushing weird shit down like kids' throats, I don't know. There's a certain line with that when it comes to kids that's like...
Yeah, kids definitely have lost their innocence over the years,
Yeah.
and it's not their own fault.
Yeah, let kids be kids.
And it's...
it's not just like the gay agenda. It's just about like sexualizing everything because sex sells. So like, and kids are starting younger and younger and younger.
I mean, do kids really have role models anymore? You know what I'm saying?
Now J. Cole says no.
Yeah.
Who's J. Cole?
Yeah, J. Cole says no.
No role models, that's right. Yeah.
Heard he won a Grammy last night.
Did he?
Yeah,
It's a weird
Good
day
for
for the black
him.
community.
I did not watch the
because,
Grammys.
Kobe died, and then J. Cole won a Grammy.
And the night
Super
before,
bittersweet.
LeBron broke the... I'm not a basketball
He
fan.
broke Kobe's record.
Yeah.
He passed Kobe's
Damn.
record. Yeah.
That's coincidental.
It was very coincidental.
Apparently there's...
Conspiracy LeBron killed Kobe.
Yeah, a friend of mine sent me... I haven't looked into it yet, but something about the Kobe Bryant conspiracy.
Illuminati
and something about the...
I'll buy and all that.
But it had something to... Like I said, I haven't looked, but it's has something to do with the Chinese virus that's breaking out, the
Coronavirus?
Yeah. That's breaking out right now.
Yeah, every day, like thousands more people infected. It's crazy.
Is it the new Ebola?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. We got people in America with it already. So
The Ebola, they were like,
hey, there's
in
that
Richmond.
depopulation you want.
yeah. Hey, I mean, honestly, it is what it is. As long as I don't get
Take
sick.
your
Even if I
vitamins.
do get sick, whatever. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
all I'm
It was
saying
a
is
good run.
Thanos wasn't totally wrong, right?
Who?
Thanos, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
No, he had the right intentions.
Yeah. I mean, he had the right intentions, but
He was a good guy deep down.
I'm more on Iron Man's side. I'm more of a Tony Stark's guy.
It was just about balance. Like, there was an equality to it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't genocide.
Yeah, and everybody was picked at random.
Yeah, it was just
it
random.
was genocide.
Yeah, it was
but
definitely genocide.
It was just a random act of
It was
genocide.
a
where-
human genocide.
Hey, a random murder doesn't make it
genocide.
any better.
Yeah.
A random school shooting doesn't make it better. It doesn't. It is like, well, did he go to the school? Okay, he went to the school. We're good. We're good. If he was just a stranger walking in off the street, now I got a problem with that.
That happens all the time, man. Strangers walk into schools and they shoot them up.
Oh man, yeah, I hate mass shooters.
Dude,
dude.
this is a weird one because this is what got Alex really a lot of backlash. Do you think any of the school shootings or any of the mass shootings have been cultivated,
Yes.
Orchestrated.
orchestrated?
Yeah, or
Let's see what we got over here. The guy off the
I
camera.
have to come over
Is he
there.
coming on the camera?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is groundbreaking for This Is Not a Podcast.
I'm passionate about this one.
All right, let's hear it. Whose shoulder are you getting behind? Right
I'm gonna
here.
come right here.
All right.
So I don't think that the school shootings are manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
I think the media's presentation of them is
Yeah.
overplayed. Do you know how many shootings are happening in Detroit every day?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many school shootings happen in this country that aren't reported?
Mm-hmm.
Why was Sandy Hook the school shooting that was reported?
Because it was young kids and it was the biggest shooting at its time. It was the
Right.
biggest shooting.
But when a kid in Texas comes up to school with a gun and then gets shot before he shoots anybody, and that kid dies at the hands of a police officer who shot him because he was... That story gets zero.
Right.
Yeah, because it didn't have a high enough body count.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's all about what the media can scare you with.
It's the narrative.
Well, yeah.
You know what this gun control lobby is all about? I bet ammunition sales are through the fucking roof
definitely.
right now.
Yeah,
I bet magazines are selling like crazy. I bet rifles are selling like crazy because it's going to take time.
And the thing is, the guns aren't actually going to go. Nobody's giving up their fucking guns.
Right. But I'll tell you
there's only been like 200 guns in Virginia given up voluntarily since they made that a thing.
I was thinking that
ammo's selling like crazy.
What kind of gun owner gives up his gun? And he's out.
Oh, I bought this like $2,000 gun. Let me just give it to you. Like, what?
Just riding into town and riding off into the sunset. There he goes.
I prefer to stay behind the camera.
Thank you, Eric.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on, not first thing.
Hey, that was a beautiful visit. We love it. But, what were we talking? Oh, yeah. I don't get that. Like, what kind of, all right, they had the Australian buyback program and everything, dude. I don't feel like that shit would go over the same way here in the United. Like, we are call us rednecks or patriots. Nobody's gonna turn their guns over.
It ain't even about rednecks and stuff. It's everybody in this country that owns a gun, man. Like that. This is one issue that goes across every fucking societal member. Like, it has no race, it has no fucking... Everybody that owns guns, nobody will give them up freely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the whole...
Unless...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, unless they're hardcore liberals and just want to go with their...
Yeah, I mean,
in which case they probably don't own guns to begin with.
Even hardcore liberals, like Moshe Kasher, one of the smartest comedians that there is, one of the most hardcore liberal comedians there is, Jewish guy, started learning how to shoot guns and learning about guns and shit because he was like, fuck it, if they're going to have guns, I need to have guns too. I need to have some sort of skill and knowledge in this.
It's like a fire extinguisher, like I say over and over. You never want to have to use it, of course. Right. Who wants to fucking kill somebody? But goddamn, I'd rather have one than not.
Better than to have it and need it than to need it and not have it.
And I hate when people paint this like kind of narrative that like anybody that has a gun is, are you walking around all spooked like shit's gonna hit the fan at any given time? It's like, no, of course not. Like when I put my seatbelt on in the car, I'm not like, oh god, I hope I don't get in a car wreck. Oh Jesus, going down the road like that.
Well, sometimes I do put it on for that reason.
Right.
Oh shit.
Yeah. If I almost hit the guy's bumper in front of me because I'm texting on my phone, I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to put on my seatbelt. But it's just like, no, you want something available for when shit hits the fan.
Or when you're riding to work at 4:30 in the morning and you're passing out, you're like, oh shit, maybe just in case.
Yeah.
Well, it's like even if they did really ban guns, first of all, if you outlaw guns, only outlaws and the law will have guns. But secondly, they've done this in cities. What happens? Motherfuckers start getting beat with hammers and stabbed.
That happens, and you turn in people that would be... You turn people that would be law-abiding citizens into criminals
for owning their guns.
Owning their guns.
That's true.
And I will be a criminal over being a law-abiding citizen.
I mean, they don't.
Case.
A lot of people will, man.
Yeah. It's really hard. It's harder to get guns in the UK unless you're like a criminal. You know what I mean? You buy it illegally, so they just stab each other.
Yeah.
Fucking stab the shit out of each other. It's that Jack the Ripper culture.
And
even then, too, people still get shot.
Right. Yeah, people still get shot, but.
And from what I hear, like a lot of these countries in which like a lot of the liberals will point like the finger at you, like, look how much the gun violence is going down. Look how much gun violence is going.
Their knife violence is going.
Right. Overall violence has spiked through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't get it.
Look how much their gun violence has gone down.
Right.
And that's said to you by a media personality that has a mafia person behind them with a gun in their back.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Their politicians are all bought.
Mm-hmm. No, it's pretty messed up, dude. And I can't remember who it was, but it's the truth that the gun debate in our country is pretty much between people that are gun owners and people that have never owned a gun or don't know anything about a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like pretty much. With an exception. I know you know what I'm saying, like you don't own a gun, but like you're not like you're knowledgeable. You grew up shooting and all that shit, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of it a lot of that shit is because I feel like it's because we're so far removed from what like crazy violence looks like, because we've had it so good for so long now that like that same like because gun violence used to be fucked up back in the day. Like people would just shoot people and not give a shit.
Wild West days,
leave them in the fucking gutter and keep fucking moving. But now we've gotten so far removed from that people just think that it's some
antiquated thing that we don't need anymore.
Yeah, but it's like it's not. That history repeats itself for a reason. Like,
really, my main fear, my main reason
they came for our guns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My main fear, my main reason for wanting to get a gun, because I'm not a gun owner. I've never owned a gun. Is for threats, domestic and foreign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I fear my fucking government more than I fear somebody breaking into my van or breaking into my room or what the fuck ever,
right.
or something weird happening and that I have to have my shit on my hip all the time.
Right.
I'd rather have a fucking AK for when shit gets weird and we gotta go. It's time for us to learn how to make campfires and build shelter, and I need my AK so it doesn't get jammed in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, straight up, that's why I would want to own a gun.
Oh,
well, even this, Killer Mike says it real well.
He's a huge gun egg.
Yeah, hell yeah, he is. He says it good. He says everybody needs at least one shotgun, one revolver, one regular rifle, and
one toy.
And one toy as an assault weapon, just in case. It covers all your bases, and plus revolver. Like, you get a regular pistol too, but revolvers are the same way. You can't jam a revolver unless you got bad ammo. Okay. That's the only way that shit's gonna fucking...
Yeah, I like a good point you made last week, which you said that pretty much guns, and it's not discussed in this manner too often, but guns is a civil rights issue, which a lot of people don't say, you know? Because if you don't have the right to self-preservation, you don't have shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, you know, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Life. You got to restore your life. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to protect it, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Totally right. Do you have to go, Andy?
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Andy.
I know. I'm sorry.
The Evil Monstar. Is it a full moon?
Not tonight. I think it was. I think it was a couple weeks ago. It's gonna be soon though.
What's the final word, Andy? What's you talked about your shows earlier? What should we look for? What should we do?
What should you do? You should come to my shows.
Yeah, when come to your shows
after Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Right?
the day after Valentine's Day at the Rec Center. I think you've been there before. You were in this comedy thing there. Yeah, so
Pete hosted there last week.
That's right.
Were you there last week?
I was not, unfortunately. So that, and then Freak, which is in like the small secret location downtown. If you need to know where it is, we'll let you know.
Message us.
We got event page that you can find everything out through. I'll be handing out flyers downtown in the college pretty much the whole 2 weeks prior to that. So,
Evil Monstar, people.
Thanks, Pete, for hosting that.
Pete, it was good to meet you, dude.
Yeah. Now you point at him and say his name. We all point and say his name.
Thanks for coming on, Andy. Man.
Yeah, dude, this was fun, man.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that 4-hour parking sign too.
Your parking pass, bro. I didn't know if you wanted it back or not.
Any conspiracies that you want to talk about before you leave? Anything you want to throw out there?
Nah, I need to do a little studying on what we've already talked about tonight. The Agenda 21. And
let's
all that.
Yeah.
So.
Mike actually put me onto that a few weeks back.
I've never heard of it before.
Look up Agenda 21, and then after you read about it, go to Ferry Farm Walmart, and then take a shit after you go there, because you're going to want to take a shit after you walk in.
Why?
Because it's going to scare the shit out of you.
But why Ferry Farm Walmart? Why not just take a shit in my own house?
You need to go to the Ferry Farm Walmart.
Just trust me.
You got to stop.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the relevance of the Ferry Farm
when you haven't given them back information, bro.
That's why I told him to read more, to read up about it.
I know, but you got to stop just dropping shit like that if you're not going to fully explain it.
All right.
You know what I mean? You can't just bring somebody some kind of information and then just tell him that, and then he's left like, what
yeah,
the
I'm
fuck are you
Googling
about?
shitting in Ferry Farm Agenda 21. I'm not seeing anything, Scott.
Is someone going to show up with a message at the front of the stall? Like, what's going on here?
Slides a piece of paper into the
Where's
stall.
David Bowie from Labyrinth at? You know, is he going to come?
Mike, you're so right. It's funny. Especially when Andy put it like that. I'm going to go.
It's the same thing you did with
I know.
that shit.
Alright, dog. Y'all be easy. Have a good night.
All right.
Enjoy this
on that note,
podcast.
I'm going to take a bathroom break.
No.
But once he looks it up and it shows him some of the shit, it has the thing about the Walmart.
Well,
that's the only Walmart I've seen.
Agenda 21 Agenda 21 doesn't. That's why I told you gotta do your research.
I thought that was the one about the Walmart shit.
No, that's Jade Helm.
Okay.
That's why I told you, bro.
Sorry.
You have to get your fucking facts straight before you fucking Just go blurting shit out, man. You gotta have some context to go on before you just start rambling.
The Chinese are making Camaros.
Fucking
Man, so
no, like we can take this time since they're gonna go into the whole Bolshevism rise and why I want to talk about it. It's not Bolshevism is not a conspiracy. The spreading of that communist concept around the world is the conspiracy part. Like it's and the same thing we're experiencing now with the rise of socialism in our country. But during World War One. Between the Americans, the Britons, and the Germans, believe it or not, because World War One was the Germans and who else was fighting with the Germans on their side?
I think the Germans and the Germans and the Russians.
No, the Russians were on the Allied side in World War One. Well, either way, a guy named Leon Trotsky. And then Vladimir Lenin. Vladimir Lenin was, they were both in exile from Russia. The Tsar of Russia exiled them out of the country. And Vladimir Lenin was staying in Germany, and Leon Trotsky was staying in America. He was in New York. And, goddamn, what president was in power at that point? I can't remember his name.
Are we talking about the Red Scare, like communism?
Well, the actual rise of Bolshevism.
Okay.
Now, see, Bolshevism, like the Russian Revolution had started pre-Bolshevism, but they sent between the Americans and the Germans in Britain, they sent Vladimir Lenin and Leon Trotsky into Russia to start the Bolshevik revolution or get the Bolshevism revolution started. Because at first it was just a socialist revolution that was happening in Russia, but they needed it to go further than that.
Right.
So, and the crazy part about it is, like, at the beginning of the Bolshevik Revolution, there was only like 2,000 members of it under Trotsky and Lenin. Like, there was only 200 members, and they were funded part by Britain and America. Well, not America, but Wall Street. Like, the Wall Street money was helping funding their revolution in Russia, which gave rise to the Bolshevism and the Red Scare and Joseph Stalin. And at first, Trotsky and Lenin were partners. And then once Lenin died, Trotsky was supposed to be his successor. But Stalin ended up taking over, and then Trotsky got exiled again. But that also, the crazy part is, right, after the revolution happened and Russia dropped out of World War One, it made it so where the Germans were only fighting on the Western Front instead of fighting on the Eastern Front and Western Front. And it basically created the rise of Hitler as well, because once they got the Russians out of the war, and it was just this side of the Western side war happening, the war stopped. Mm-hmm. Like, they had the Treaty of Versailles was signed, and the war stopped, and the Germans on the front lines, they were like, yo, why have we stopped fighting? Like, nobody crossed into German territory at that point. So they were like, what the fuck? Why did we get pushed back? Why did our government sign this treaty and we get pushed back and take the most hit out of everybody in this war, and we lost our borders and everything after the Russians bowed out of the fucking war? You know what I'm saying? So, like, the Treaty of Versailles just kind of stopped the war abruptly, and the Germans felt like they were basically screwed. And then that gave rise to the Socialist Revolution and Hitler's revolution. And then, while Hitler's whole rise was coming up, there was warning sign after warning sign that something bad was coming. and between France and Britain and the West, they all just kind of like said, whatever, we're not gonna. Mm-hmm. You're breaking the Treaty of Versailles, but we're not gonna punish you for it. That's when Hitler went into the Rhinelands, and then I think it was what's on the bottom. I need a map. Got a map. Fucking
Studio B. He's got all the maps. How was your piss, Pete?
But basically,
it was great.
When they started taking back the original German territory that was lost after the Treaty of Versailles happened, because the whole reason they took like the Rhinelands, they took really big economic areas away from the Germans.
Okay.
And it, what it in turn happened after World War One is there happened to be a Jewish majority in power in Germany at the time. Like, of course, the Jews were the minority, but they made up the majority of
the leaders
of Germany. So that's what started that whole like anti-Semitism is like that's why that went crazy, because they were like they needed that scapegoat to blame someone.
Right. It was a Zionist organized government. Whatever.
Well, that's what he thought. It was the Jewish world's conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty wild shit.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And that's some other wild shit to it is like in World War One, when the Balfour Agreement or the Balfour Doctrine was signed or was given to the leader of the Zionist movement, they told the Zionist movement in World War One that they guaranteed a Jewish state in Israel, and they like right after World War One they started migrating European Jews down to Israel or Palestine at the time, but current day Israel, and then all of a sudden you get World War II happens, and then 2 years after World War II happened, that's when they created the state of Israel out of the Middle East. They also that's when you got the creation of Iraq and not Afghanistan. That's when you got the real creation of like Iraq and Syria. Well, the current day borders of Iraq, Syria, right, and like that whole little chunk of the Middle East. They kind of like, when they made the state of Israel and the whole plan after World War II for the Middle East, they basically chopped it up where it was smashing rival factions of like Shia and Sunni Muslims, and there's a few more types of Muslims, but in those countries it like pitted them against each other geographically, like so it would cut like swaths of Sunnis away from other Sunnis and put them in heavily Shia states, and then the opposite would happen too, where they would take a bunch of Shia population and make them the minority in a Sunni Muslim state. So it created just conflict in every area that they sliced up in the Middle East.
What do you think the point of this is? Is to keep them fighting each other, and it's just another divide and conquer tactic? Yeah,
some say it would be that. Others say it would be for the creation of the Greater Israel Project, which is just giving more area to Israel and that whole thing, and that could be tied in with occult stuff, because all that does have to do with religious, that like whether any of us believe in religions or not, like there are full countries that are willing to fight and die over their cult, like their version of their cult that they think is right. So it's like,
that's scary too.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the Middle East is a very weird, that whole area, like Europe and the Middle East, the north of Africa, and like just the East in general, like the Western Asia and Russia, it's all just a weird.
I mean, it is just like mind blowing. Like just bringing up the Middle East, like, God, dude, if there's one place on the map I don't want to go to,
the biggest powder keg in the world,
yeah,
right?
It's the Middle East, dude. It's just like Jesus. Like,
that's another crazy thing too. Like,
we froze.
Oh yeah, we froze, cuz. Look at this shit.
We're in a time warp. And Scott's our controller.
That's really weird.
Ooh. Yeah.
Something marionette.
Snap your fingers, Scott.
That's true.
That's what, dude. You got the backdrop behind you too. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a weird happening that, like, a lot of the stuff they do too, and a lot of it also could be just because of like the American empire. Like, whether anybody wants to believe it or not, we're like one of the biggest empires to ever exist.
Yeah.
Because we have more. We're like the British used to be when like the sun doesn't set on the American empire, because we have so many bases all across the world. Mm-hmm. We have more bases than any other country there is, and they all happen to flow right around China, and then back up around the bottom half of Russia, and then around Russia and Europe. Like, we have like this, what they call the Iron Curtain, all the way around Russia and China. That's also a lot of the Russian and Chinese aggression, where that comes from, is because they're being surrounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's spiritual shit behind that too.
The hedge money.
The
hegemony, or whatever they call it. It's pretty crazy.
Dude, we gotta do a full podcast on this.
Yeah.
Cause like, and he'll take the lead on this one, cause he knows what he's talking about, dude. Just like,
man, I fucking love history too, and you don't, like I said, with him and me, like, you don't have to fucking take my broken explanations of all this shit. You can literally look up all this shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Everything from the Balfour Agreement to the U.S. and for goddamn Wall Street funding Trotsky's and Lenin's rise to power. You can research all of that shit yourself.
What about the Rockefellers and Ford and them funding like Hitler?
Yeah, Hitler. That's the crazy part about it, is
in the Vatican.
Yeah, they all fund both sides of it. Like, these super rich, wealthy people. It's a win-win either way. Regardless of what happens, they come out on top. Bet on red
and bet on black and play roulette.
Yeah, so,
yeah, right.
So it doesn't matter which one hits.
But you never break even. You always come out in the plus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. I get pissed.
I think it must be like some kind of weird perpetual war thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because it's a moneymaker. War sells.
Yeah, exactly. The military-industrial complex. It's what got us out of the Great Depression. So it's like, why fix? You know,
dude. Mentioning you bet on red, you bet on black, makes me want to go back to Charlestown.
You want to go to the casino?
Dude, I would love to go to the casino.
You want to go to Atlantic City and see the guys that I did comedy with a couple weeks ago?
Hell yeah. Who was that? Oh, yeah.
Mike Merck.
That show, where was that show? Bullcock and Swine, right?
Yes, Bullcock and Swine, Stafford. Mike Merck, Gary Garcia, Terry McNeely. Check them out.
Yeah, I think I follow Mike Merck, and McKilly.
Hilarious. He's a really good crowd work.
Yeah, I think I follow him, both of them on Facebook. I thought you were gonna come off of that, but yeah, let's go to the casino, man. I love Atlantic City, dude. Atlantic City's the shit.
We've known each other since we were like 4 years old, bro.
Huh?
I've known you since I was like 4 years old.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that about?
Well, you
call conspiracy. I think the CIA planted you in my life.
I feel the same way about you.
You're a Russian.
Pete's gonna kill you.
Sleeper cell. It's all part of Eric's revenge.
Joke's on you guys. I'm killing both of you. And then I'm gonna blame it on hip hop music for polluting my brain.
There you go. There you go.
It was the damn hippity hop and the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
I'm just kidding. I fucking love hip hop.
What else do you guys want to talk about?
All right, out of us, most likely to be a serial killer. Go.
The guy with the rape fan.
Yeah, sure. However, I've had my fair share of accusations.
Yeah, it's always the clean cut.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's either, Jeffrey Dahmer or it's a Ted Bundy.
And even then, man, Dahmer was slightly clean cut.
Yeah. True.
It's a nerdy looking dude.
He was a boozer. We should talk about serial killers one time.
Oh,
do a serial killer episode?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Anybody who's still listening out there, If we did a episode about serial killers, what serial killer would you like us to really hone in on?
Women.
Albert Fish.
Albert Fish? I don't know too many about him. Like, for some reason, when it comes to like serial killers, like I just want to like the modern day.
I always think about Albert Fish because of the fucking Captain Spaulding's Museum of Monsters and Madmen when they ride the murder ride. And he's like taking them through and showing them all the fucking serial killers. It's like Albert Fish, and he like to stick needles in his dick or something while he messed with it.
Evil Monstar says honestly, he's probably most likely to be the serial killer.
Andy is very charismatic. He's got a whole Ted
I
Bundy
agree.
thing.
You're a curveball, buddy. You're a curveball. A wild one. He's got a crazy door slam.
Who attacked my Christmas tree?
You, Andy.
His Christmas tree's still up.
Student Keith said Bundy. I could talk about Bundy, dude.
Yeah, Bundy's
I already know enough about Bundy. I mean, I got to brush up, but yeah.
Yeah.
People would watch just because Bundy.
Yeah.
Talking about stuff.
Yeah, when I took this criminal justice class at Germana, no, I didn't graduate, but I took a class. They said...
Did you fail online PE?
No, I didn't fail online PE. I just didn't go back. But I took a class, and the guy who was like, he was former law enforcement. He goes, all right, now I'm going to talk about everybody's favorite serial killer, Ted Bundy. And that always cracks me up, man.
Ed Gein would be another cool one.
Yeah.
He was like the inspiration for Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had a weird childhood. His mom was really fucking strange.
Yeah, like he was the
Super
beginning
Christian.
of like the mommy issues with serial killers, kind of. Yeah, Ted Bundy had mommy issues too because
most serial killers have some sort of mommy.
Yeah,
or
I guess so. I don't know. Like Jeffrey Dahmer, I think he just had parent issues in general. Yeah.
Manson was like the first one. He's not necessarily a serial killer, but Manson was like one of the first ones in American history that was like. His case was the one that broke through for the justice system, like, oh, being incarcerated will make you worse. Like you can get institutionalized and it will make you a worse criminal. Because his mom, like, raped him and shit, and he grew up going to fucking foster care and in and out of juvenile hall, and he got fucking molested, like, a lot. I'm not trying to defend the man and what he did, but...
Yeah, that's one of the things, too. Like, it's all good to talk about people but we gotta, as a society, like, it's okay to do documentaries and stuff on people that are serial killers. But as a society, we gotta stop glorifying people that are like school shooters or just serial killers in general, because that gives the people that are like crazy, like a lot of the school shooters, they do that shit for the attention. Right. They never get any kind of attention, so then they're like, well, I'm gonna go down in history for being this.
As much as I hate to say it, we do live in kind of a Call of Duty, Fortnite, high score culture, so it's like, and how many of those kids do you think play shooter video games like that? Let me go break the high score.
That's not blaming it on the fucking on the video games. It's just saying
it's the media. Dude.
Yeah, it's like the media.
And it's not like, all right, like it's not like the media, like I would say the internet media or a podcast where we'll like actually sit down and have a conversation. It's that breaking news media. It's like, oh, we got a picture.
They put a picture.
Oh, we got a quote. You know what I'm saying? That's 24-hour coverage. You know what I'm saying? Not like, let's talk about this for 2 hours and then we're done. You know what I'm saying? And we'll
let's talk about how we fucking punish them more than glorify their states. That too, and like, I get it, the death penalty, whatever. If you got one person killing a killer, there's still a killer in the room. But like, at the end of the day, when you can kill a bunch of people and then spend 15 to 16 years, sometimes even 25 years on death row before anything's actually done with you, did you really get punished?
Right.
Now you get to get all your glory, and some people literally start cults around these people that are in prison.
Right, yeah.
Like, so it's like...
They get fan mail.
Right, yeah, so it's like... And then people will pay for money on their books. They get to live good, like fucking Manson. You think Manson doesn't live fucking...
He lived really good.
Yeah, he lived really fucking good.
He had a girlfriend.
Exactly, like...
He got married.
Throughout years,
yeah.
So it's like...
You think he got conjugal visits?
Like,
I don't know, like...
I don't know if they gave...
He at least got love letters,
or
man.
like... Yeah.
It's more than I'm doing, so...
Right. But either way, like, it's... We gotta stop...
Your penis portraits don't get called that.
It's not even glorifying them, but we gotta stop like making them such a big deal because that gives people incentive to want to be like that.
I heard a comedian talk about it the other night on the I think it was Jim Norton was talking about it. But yeah, basically that exact thing is to stop glorifying these people. You know, maybe what makes a school shooter so brave is hearing about the other school shooters, or hearing about.
Well, that's not bravery. But it's the incentive. Yeah,
you understand what I meant. You're right. It is a cowardly, disgusting thing.
Because going back to the guns, they always shoot up places that are gun free. You never see people take advantage of.
No one shot up at NRA convention.
Yeah, right. Nobody shot up 22,000 people at a gun rally.
Right.
Yeah.
No one went to the Expo Center like this weekend and shot that place up.
Right.
Hey, and the guy that shot up the country music festival did that from a very long distance, shooting from the fucking.
And I'd be willing to bet that it's not legal to have loaded firearms in that building.
No, what was it? The Mandalay Bay? Yeah, I'm sure.
And there's another conspiracy. Not saying. That the hard thing about shootings is when you start trying to say it was a conspiracy, people all automatically try to discredit you because people died, or try to tell you that it's like you're trying to say it's something that didn't happen or whatever. It's like not like that. Of course, people died and shit, but why? Just like Epstein, why did no video cameras catch him loading in all that weaponry? Like, why was that allowed to happen? That's a fucking case. It's like there's a whole bunch of cameras in the Mandalay Bay Hotel, but not one saw him. You know how big gun bags are? And ammunition fucking boxes. Like, you can't just bring that in a duffel bag. But none of the cameras in that building saw him. So they basically what was their camera system shut down?
I haven't really looked that much into it, but the only thing I've seen is what's his name, Paddock, right? The guy that shot up Man on Wood. Is I saw him at the counter checking in, and then I saw the photos of his room after the incident. But I haven't seen any.
Insane.
He's also a liberal too. I'm just not badmouth the liberals. I'm just saying.
Well,
saying that
he was somebody that has aligned views with
the gun
restrictions. So
it's weird.
That's have y'all ever seen the movie? And this is a movie recommendation. Is Arlington Road? Have you ever seen Arlington Road, dude? 90s flick, great movie. It's got Jeff Bridges in it, and it's got Tim Robbins in it. And who else has got in it? But it's basically about a guy who is reports about white nationalists and white nationalist groups and everything, like the Timothy McVeighs and the Ruby Ridges and the Wacos and stuff like that, or whatever you want to call it. And a guy moves in next door, and he seems a little weird, and he's kind of has really strong political views. And it's basically kind of about how people are kind of set up and framed, they're not to be unsensitive or whatever, but it's kind of they're very they're useful idiots, you know what I'm saying? They use them, they take them along for it.
Well, shit,
that's the term my dad used. Oh, did he? My dad used that term all the time, Sorry.
One of the a big one. A useful idiot was Oswald.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because there's video of when he's taken into the jail, he fucking yells out to everybody. He's like, I don't know about any of this. I am literally just a proxy. I am a proxy. And then pop. So it's what the fuck?
I was going to bring that up too. And I was going to ask you guys, do you think that hypnosis is very real? Do you think they can hypnotize people? MK Ultra? Do you think they can brainwash people into going and doing?
Well, shit, you don't even need MK Ultra, bro.
Zoolander?
Just, of course, they can brainwash people. Just take it to our people, white people. The ideal that somehow there's a supreme being has been brainwashed into our people over years and years and years of brainwashing, and that literally just started by a guy saying that, look, you might not have nothing, But regardless of you not having anything and being the lowest part of society, you're better than that person. Just that one little thought got out of control and brainwashed a whole entire fucking race of people. So, like, brainwashing is fucking... All it is you just got to cram as much information into
I think anybody can be brainwashed, but I think if you find the right people that are already kind of misguided and confused and unaware of what their next step's going to be and don't have a lot of emotional support, don't have friends or family around them, I think it's a lot more simple to brainwash them. Because, you know, I think everybody, no matter where they're at in life, they want to find some sort of purpose or meaning, you know?
I don't even mean necessarily, like, brainwash someone, like, in the long haul, like, sense. I mean, like...
We're frozen.
Like a quick, like, you know, like Clockwork Orange sessions, almost.
I don't know why that keeps happening.
I don't know, but that's a good picture of me.
Yeah, Scott's had us froze for, like, ever.
That's what you get.
Snaps his fingers. There we go.
I don't know, man. I think that a lot of shit... My roommate, he definitely... I mean, he might be right. I probably was having a little bit of a mental breakdown. I mean... But, you know,
that was funny.
I was like on one of my LSD rants about, you know, like how the TV is programming you. I was like, it's TV... like, it's literally called programming. It's TV programming. It's programs. It's programming you. And I was like, the air conditioner is conditioning you to be more comfortable. Like, I literally was... But I do, like... I feel like there's certain shit, like... This world is a fucking stage. It's a play. It's an act. And there's people that are in on it. And they fucking know what the act is all about. And they're into weird shit. And they have the resources and the capital to manipulate our thought. To manipulate thought.
Well, yeah, there's no coincidence that all the main news outlets, regardless of bias, are owned by the same conglomerate.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Viacom.
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's all it's a control over thought, and it's this realm, this world is. It's manifested on what you perceive, how you perceive it, and perception is shaped by words.
The thing I hate about all conspiracy, like the rebuttals to conspiracy theories and stuff like that, because, like, of course, not all conspiracy theories are true, but a lot of people always tend to be like, well, why would they do that? Why do they need to brainwash the whole... Why would they lie like that? It's like, bruh, people will fucking lie just to get a fucking bite to eat.
Right.
Or a piece of pussy. Like,
right.
What makes you think that a wealthy motherfucker wouldn't lie to keep himself more wealthy?
Right.
Like,
yeah, good point. Like, these motherfuckers are lying to get half the, like a quarter or half of the world bank. You know?
Right.
You know, like you said, they'll lie for a steak. You know what I mean? Like,
like,
I'll lie to control half the monetary system.
Hell,
you know?
Yeah. People fucking lie just to get advancements at jobs. Like,
and here's the thing: these people that like the high ranks that lie, like you said, just like the school shooters, get romanticized because they still get to go on TV and go, "Hey, everybody, I'm a philanthropist because I gave money to this charity and this organization and everything like that." But you know, at the same time, it's just like, what happened? But at the same time, you know, what I'm saying, you know, they're like doing these backdoor deals and you know. They're, you know, full of corruption and everything like that. So, yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
We live in a very wicked and evil world.
Yeah, I heard it. And, like, also another thing about the possibilities of possibilities. This is like, we're literally sitting here in a flesh meat sack talking to each other.
Right.
If that alone doesn't tell you that anything in this universe is possible, then what will? Like, what?
Right.
Like, does this make sense? Like, what? This makes sense right here. Like, this body.
Dude, we're on a television.
Right. And then I have a different conscious perspective than you have a different conscious perspective. Like, that alone tells you that anything in the world is fucking possible.
Dude, could you imagine? I think about this all the time.
Possibilities are infinite.
If the original man, like, you know, 1 BC, was like teleported right here, right now, how mind blowing this would be to see like the TV and like a microphone.
That's
and
the crazy
and
thing.
The fact we got clothes on. You
that's
know
the crazy
what I'm
thing. That what if he's like, man, y'all are so behind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's another
like we're spiritually out of touch. Kind
of? No. Just I feel like we, as human beings, we've always been painted the picture that this is the best we've ever been, because recorded history is so fucking wonky. All throughout the world, history has been recorded by the dominant people of the area.
Right.
So like we don't know where the world was fucking Christians literally burned out whole swaths of religious groups that have different views of the world just to spread Christianity or Catholicism. So like our view of the world is so distorted. It's like we don't actually know what civilization looked like in the days of the pyramids.
Right.
Like, and we have absolutely no way to know.
Like they said,
anybody says they have a way to know, they're fucking lying, because unless you have a time machine, you don't know the exacts of anything.
Right.
It's kind of like space.
History's written by the winners, not the losers.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like space, man. Like space. I'm not out here saying that fucking space isn't real. Of course, space is real, but some of the shit that the motherfuckers talk about, like the scientists talk about, just kind of goes against the laws of like the science we have here on Earth. It's like these people are telling you that there's a star that is millions of light years away that we can't reach, yet they know the chemical composition of it. And now here on Earth, you can look at that table, but you can't just tell the chemical composition of the table without testing the chemical composition of the table.
Right.
So if there's a star that's a million light years away that you can't get to, yet you know the chemical composition of it, but you've never tested it, you've never been able to get something close enough into the sun to bring you a sample of the sun back to tell you that your theory is right.
Right.
Like, that's the only problems I have with it, is some of the information is just like, it doesn't like go with the fucking the
narrative,
the physics or whatever, the biology of this physical realm. It's like you're telling me that this is something that is infallible science, yet it doesn't fit all the requirements to be an infallible science because it's not proven.
Right.
Like you haven't factually tested the chemical. Yeah, you have not gone out, tested it, and then came back with your test results to tell me the composition of it. So it's like a weird gray area.
No, I got you, man. Like they say, like science is nothing more than a big theory. Like everything in science is a theory meant to be disproven.
It's a tool. Science is literally a tool to disprove or prove something. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, like, and it's supposed to be constantly evolving, and people are supposed to be constantly checking different and testing different theories and stuff to disprove them or prove them. So it's like,
you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like the serial defense episode when Matt comes up there, it's like he was wrong, making himself and everybody else in the world a bitch when he's going through everybody in science. That's pretty much
stupid science bitch.
Stupid science bitch. Like everything just like keeps probably like 100 years from now, we're gonna realize like everything we've been taught about the atmosphere and the air we breathe, and it's
that episode
incorrect.
It's the comparison between scientists and Christianity, because Mac is a huge Christian, and
the serial defense.
Yeah, and what it is he's like, you're basing, you believe these guys on faith. Did you do the studies yourself?
Yeah, did you read the papers?
Did you hear God say that? Is basically what he's doing, is he's comparing the scientists to God. He's like, so you're just basing this on faith that these guys know science?
And that's how the thing about God and the thing about science is, science can't disprove God and God can't disprove science.
Yeah.
Damn. I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I really like when
let's go get that tattooed on me right now. Come on, guys. Podcast, come along. Let's do this.
I'm gonna go get "Do Not Resuscitate" tattooed on me, just so in case I ever become a vegetable, them fuckers don't try to save me on a machine.
Should be don't bury me in a coffin, put me
That
straight in
too.
the dirt.
Oh boy. So what are we gonna do next week?
Are you coming on next week?
No. Am I coming on?
Next week is JD.
JD.
Can I join next week?
Nope.
Oh, there you
Can we
go.
talk about country music?
I'm talking about country music. Hell yeah.
We'll set up another date.
Okay.
Come back on.
Yeah, well, I'm coming on.
Yeah, we can definitely keep doing this conspiracy theory podcast.
I like conspiracy.
Well, you want me
I
to
do
come
too.
on with
You're coming on with Heather on the 10th.
Cool.
Heather Joyce. She's another comedian. I think you've probably seen Heather.
Which one is she?
She's the female comedian with the glasses. Her and her husband always come.
Oh yeah.
She's really funny. But she's doing my show that I'm doing on Valentine's Day. So I'm having her on the podcast on the 10th, and then Pete's going to come on too. It's going to be our first comedians podcast, so that should be fun. Yeah.
Cool.
I wanted to get Jim on too, but Jim works like weird hours.
Did you ask him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I talked to him about it, but he works weird hours.
And you can't get Nathan because he lives in Sparta.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to get Kearns on here other than just calling in.
Could you get? Where does he live?
He lives in Manassas, but he works around here. I think he lives in Manassas. He works around here. His shop is around here.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, we can definitely line up another one. It'd have to be like the second Monday of March. Do you guys want to do that?
Yeah. Second Monday of March?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Because next is
JD.
Next is JD, then it's you and Heather. Then after that, I have Sean Bennett, and hopefully I can get trying to get Daniele Benedetto. So everybody go fucking bug Danny and tell Danny to come on the podcast if you want to hear him talk about fighting and alternative school. So hopefully that. My buddy Danny is he fights MMA.
Oh, okay.
And Sean Bennett.
Yeah, I think I've seen him.
Well, they used to train together and stuff.
Okay.
And I know them both outside of them knowing each other, so I thought it'd be a cool podcast to do. His name is spelled Daniele, like Dun, Donelei. Yep, Daniele Benedetto. Tell that motherfucker to come on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I see him all the time. Like I don't know who he is. Like I've never met him.
Great guy.
But
Great
yeah,
guy.
he's got that badass picture.
Yeah, he's
profile
a mean motherfucker, but he's
got
got
that guy on the canvas.
Yeah.
And he's like standing over him and shit.
He's got a big heart though, man.
That's cool.
He's really easy to go along with.
No. I'm just saying that's a cool fucking
fuck
picture.
you up if you had to, I'm sure. And then after that is Mitri. I'm having Mitri on the 24th to talk about dreams. Wanted to do one with Mitri one-on-one. I want to get one with you one-on-one too. That's another thing too, is I feel like I keep trying to make the group thing. It was help keep me comfortable, and I could just lean back.
I like the group thing, man.
I like the group thing
too. I feel like...
But I want to get people their spotlight though too, and really let it shine on them and talk one-on-one to people.
That too, and you need to reach out to other people that you don't even know.
I do, man.
Reach out to just people
like
community. Reach out to the Greens and get them to come on your podcast.
Oh, that'd be dope.
The who?
The people that run the Greens.
I have to go down there and knock on the door.
Reach out to the Koreans.
Yeah, the Koreans. Let's Kim Jong-un. If you're watching, we want you, buddy.
Fuck that. I want Dennis Rodman.
No,
Dennis Rodman is so much more.
I would fucking chill with Dennis Rodman. He's fucking out
definitely.
there. Fuck yeah, I love out there.
You think he's ever dosed? That's a dumb question. Of course he's dosed. He's probably dosed up right now. He's probably permanent dosed.
Yeah.
Then after that, it's Patrick Bishop. This gentleman that I worked with at Target. He does like ghost hunts and shit. He was
Like a ghost hunter?
Yeah,
No
a
shit.
Freemason. Really smart guy, man. I've always loved having conversations with him because he's always just got his insight is whatever the fuck it is.
Funny story, right? Ghost hunting. I went ghost hunting one time, and there's like this place up in Stafford. It's called the Witch's Pond.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Me and one of my buddies went up there one night. It's like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning. It's close to the witching hour, and we're like doing the photo thing and like trying to talk to the ghosts and get them to fucking talk back and stuff. And he even had his like ghost hunting equipment with like the energy sensors and all that shit. And we're not hearing nothing the whole time we're there. And then we go, like, we're like, all right, fuck it. It's fucking 3 o'clock in the morning. We should leave now. And, fucking, we go down by the water because there's a pond there. And, like, we're doing it. We're, like, giving it one last shot, like, trying to talk to any spirits there. And as soon as we get back up the road, like up onto like the little pathway that leads out of the woods, like we get up on it and like this fucking thing makes this weird fucking crying sound, bro. Like I ain't even kidding. Like it was fucking the most weird sounding cry that I've ever heard in my life. And like we both just look at each other and we're like, oh fuck. Because, you know, we've turned everything off, so we don't even got, like, no equipment that we thought would help us in this moment. Like,
help us do what? We don't know.
Exactly. We don't know what the fuck's going on. Fucking, and, like, fucking, we both look at each other, and then we turn back, and we're, like, looking around, and, like, we're both kind of facing, like, opposite directions. And, like, there's only one way out. And for some reason, when the sound happened again, both of us fucking like turned to run out, but we turned into each other instead of out. And fucking like we run into each other, right? And then we start like running down the pathway. And then we hear the fucking cry again, and it's this fucking owl up in a and it didn't make a hoot at all. It literally made like a screeching cry. Like it sounded so fucking eerie while we were doing this fucking ghost hunting shit. So it's like, it was like a cry.
It was like my cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
When he runs out with a revolver. What the fuck was that?
Right. And then this motherfucker, we're running down this path, and this motherfucker literally swoops down out of the tree. But that's the only reason I knew it was an owl, because it like followed us down and out of the path and like swooped up over top of us, still doing the screaming cry thing. And then when it stopped, finally, and we got out to the road, like we stopped running once we realized it was an owl. But once we got out to the road, that's when it started going. Ooh. And I was like, fuck you, bro. Fuck you, bro. You fucking knew what we were doing down here, and you were fucking with us.
The owls are not what they seem.
Have you ever had an encounter with a ghost?
Yes. I think. I'm not sure. My cousin, you can Richard Willis, if you're out there to verify this story for me. Okay, he lived in this house with his father-in-law. And this house is down in Southern Virginia. It's like an old-ass farmhouse, and it is fucking haunted as shit. Like, they've seen so many different things in that house, and I was all skeptical and shit of all the happenings that they were talking about. So I'm in this house during the day, and I'm, like, staying the night there with them. And, like, I'm in this house, and, like, all day I'm just talking shit about like ghosts and how they're not real, and like fuck this, like whoever's fucking haunting this house, fuck you, blah 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 blah, just going on and on and on. And like, I shit you not, I don't know if it was anything paranormal that happened or if I beat myself up in my fucking sleep, but that next morning I woke up and like I go to use the bathroom and my face fucking burns. Like, it is like on fire burning. And I have a fucking scratch from the top of my head right here, down my nose, and across my face.
Oh, shit.
Like, just... And, like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, because I didn't know, like, I didn't have nails to be able to scratch myself. And I was sleeping on a fucking mattress. So all there was a pillow and a fucking mattress for me to scratch myself on. So it's like... To this day, I don't know if it was actually a paranormal event or if I just somehow fucked myself up in my sleep, but that shit was just too coincidental and fucking eerie as hell.
That's part of my rabbit hole right there. Is I want to have a ghost encounter. You know what I'm saying?
You never had one?
No, have you?
I mean,
well,
have you never had one that you've seen, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
A silhouette.
Yeah, like a silhouette, or there's a word that they use for ghosts. But is that what you mean? Have you had, like, other stuff that you would kind of... Yeah, like a specter or something? Have you had other stuff that you
I've never had anything where I've been like, oh man, that was a ghost, or I saw like an image, or.
I remember as a kid, I always saw like shadow people and weird shit like that, man. I remember there was one time, I was like in my room, I'm like 8 years old, and you start hearing something like tapping on my keyboard. And like, I didn't have a cat or anything like that. Nobody come in my room. None of my family that I lived with was computer savvy. That was one strange instance. And then, not long before...
And he said he's experienced ghosts before.
I've experienced ghosts at his house, man. And I keep telling him his house is haunted. And him and Katie are like, nah. And I'm like, okay, that's not... They don't haunt you then. It's me. And that's fine. I was going to talk about that too. No, but one of the weirdest ones I had that was before I moved out of Grandpa's house. I was fucking laying in my bed one night. I'm laying there and I had this shelf up above my bed, right? And I had like a dream catcher tack. I'm looking for a thumbtack. I can't find one. But it was like a dream catcher tacked into the wall, right? But it wasn't like the thumbtack wasn't pushed all the way, so it still had like that little piece of metal between like the plastic and the shelf, right? So I had my dream catcher was sitting up over the plastic. And sitting on the piece of metal between the shelf and the fucking plastic. You know what I mean? So, like, you have to pick it up to take it off the thing. Fucking laying there in my bed. Boom! I opened my eye. Like, it was something smacked the fucking shelf.
Clipping the mics.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, everybody.
That
Chinese Chimeras!
That was probably just the Native American spirits.
It was
trying
something,
to
man.
tell you to get that damn dream catcher out of your fucking room, Whitey.
Yeah, stop appropriating their culture.
Yeah, but it was like something banged the shelf, and I opened my eyes to see what it was, and as soon as my eyes opened, like the dream catcher fell down like this, boom, and landed on the pillow right next to my face. And I was like, what the fuck? So I jumped up, and I was looking around like, what could have fallen? Nothing fell. Like, there was nothing that had fallen to make that happen. Like I said, the way that the dream catcher was hooked on to the tack, like, it would have had to lift up to come off.
Yeah.
So it was like something fucking pulled it off of there.
Now I got
and dropped it. Then, one time when you and I were hanging out, I felt like some weird spectral shit was going on, because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. As soon as 3 o'clock in the morning hit, like, the cat was standing on the banister, and then it was like something came down the steps and fucking pushed him off. Like, that cat did not come off the banister in a natural way at all. Like, it looked like something, like, forced his body off, like, the way that he fucking came off.
Right.
And then, I was like, I noticed it was 3 o'clock. So I looked to the right, and there's this big window that's kind of like behind the banister. And I'm looking in this dark reflective surface, and I'm trying to scry, which is like a magic occult thing, right? I'm trying to see the future in this dark reflective surface. And like, the more that I focused on it, and the deeper my focus got, the more the dog started getting excited. It was like I could feel that I was like about to tap into something, and the dog was like he started getting really excited when that happened, man. And then the fucking cat ran upstairs and was like running around playing with the demon. That's all I could chalk it up to, man. It was weird. It was a strange experience. And then
nothing, man. I haven't had anything like that in my life. I've meditated. I played with Ouija boards and all that shit, dude.
Almost all my girlfriends have been Ouija board girls.
I think that's another crazy concept. Is a Ouija board.
Well, I think it's
aren't they sold by Milton Bradley, like the fucking toy company?
But
like, why are you selling a cult?
Oh yeah. Okay, I get what you're going for. Because I was about to,
or just people in general. Like, if the cult is of the occult is something bad,
they're trying to recruit, man.
Yeah, then why are you like selling it like it's not?
You think there's truth to that, or do you think people move it with their? Do you think people subconsciously move it?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that move it, and there's some people that get genuine experiences. Now, being able to decipher which ones are real and which ones aren't, good luck with that.
Right.
Because human beings, that's the worst flaw of the human condition is that human beings lie.
Yeah.
They lie. Like, they lie for the littlest reasons, they lie for big reasons. So you never know what kind of information you're getting, if it's because the only person that can verify it is the person that was there.
Right.
So like you don't know.
Have you all seen the movie Invention of Lying
Mm-mm.
with Ricky Gervais? It's really good, dude. It's It's pretty much it's a world where no one can tell a lie and everybody's brutally honest. And then Ricky Gervais realizes like you can lie, and he starts lying. So everybody be like at the beginning of the movie, he's about to go on like a date with Jennifer Garner. She's like, "Hey, how you doing? You're not as good as I thought you were gonna look. Yeah, just so you know, I'm probably gonna have sex with you." You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, well that's cool. Well, I'm really horny at now that looking at you. I'm glad I jerked off before I came here. And like that's how like everybody.
Right, because they're brutally honest.
Yeah. But then like when he like gets to the point where like it's like, oh, our computers are down. How much money did you have in your account? And then he's like, $1,000. It's like, and then the system comes up and she's like, oh, it says here you only had $200. Oh, it must have been an error. Here you go. And then he like realized like I can just not tell the truth and like, get away with it. You know, it's a pretty funny movie. Yeah,
it's interesting. No, you're right though. It is. It's hard to tell. But you think it is a portal? You guys think the Ouija board could be a portal?
I think it's
I don't
like
know about portal, but it definitely can be used as a conduit.
Yeah, like I just feel like it's all in the mind of the person. It's just like meditation. It's like we were doing
it's like a low form of necromancy in a sense.
What's that?
Necromancy is like communication with the dead, the spirit realm.
Oh yeah, like I feel like it's like we were doing a ritual, right? Like we were doing like a Masonic ritual, and we were to be like, you know, be half ass about it. Like yeah, like pretty much like I can't remember how I heard it described, but a Ouija board is nothing more than like you said, just like a portal. Even if it has Milton Bradley on it, if you sit around and you truly get in the state of mind to talk to the dead, you know what I'm saying, they're not, you know, gonna not talk with you if you know
use that board,
right? Just because it has a name brand on the corner of it, you know what I mean? Like there's
that's the crazy thing about the spirit realm. It's like that people will go in that shit like thinking that like it's a joke. Like I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't fuck with the things you don't understand, because like really bad like possessions and just negative spirits and negative energies and all that shit do exist.
That's why if you're gonna like practice hermetics or magic or whatever, you have to be careful about how you word things too, and you have to be sure to pray to the right deity and ask for. Usually, when I pray, I ask for from the infinite source with harm to no one. That's like how I cap off any prayer that I say, because I just feel it's like talking to a genie, you know. Even praying to God, like asking, like, can we, like, I just want to have a good podcast tonight, and like, you know, let's make people laugh or whatever. But if I don't cap it off with that from the infinite source with harm to no one, there's that part of me that feels like it's going to be at someone else's expense. Yeah, we'll have a good podcast, but it'll be at the expense of someone else in the universe. And like bad things are going to fucking happen anyway. Right. But it's still, I don't want it to be a direct correlation of, you know, my negative intent or my negative.
We got some guests telling some stories. Chris Richardson, the other day I was laying there in bed and heard this loud squeaking sound, startled me, then I realized it was just my phone.
So Chris...
That was a joke. Kellyanne Chase says, just the other night, my bedroom door opened and then it closed again. No one else was here. I checked my whole apartment and then went back to my room and closed the door, making certain that it was latched, and then I woke up the next day. My bedroom door was open again.
Chris Richardson actually thought about when you were telling the Witch's Pond story, because he's got a Witch's Pond story too. I went there with Melanie before as well. Yeah. Fredericksburg has a weird energy, man.
Andy felt the need to tell us that Ouija boards were invented in 1890.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy, for being here while not being here.
It was a parlor game like before that or something like that.
Something like that. I've never actually looked into it because I really don't care much for Ouija boards. I don't like fucking around in the dark arts. You know that. I don't. Yeah. That's why I don't really fuck with Aleister Crowley and all that stuff. Just because it's just darkness. There's a lot of darkness in all of that. And I don't fuck with that shit. There used to be a point in my life where I welcomed that in the whole, especially like Satanism and shit, like 11th grade. I got real into Satanism and Anton LaVey. I bought his book, his Satanic Bible.
Definitely had points where I was letting the evil in and shit. I used to have a copy of the Necronomicon.
Right. And it's like, I don't know, like after a certain point, it's just kind of like cultish.
Yeah.
It's all cultish. It's just
I enjoy studying the occult, but to like prescribe to one school of thought and follow somebody else's school of thought so emphatically like that, I feel is foolish. I really like taking bits and pieces from all theology, all schools of thought, all mysticism, and applying it to my own. Because what resonates with me because of past experiences and shit, you know what I mean? It's not just because I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. It's because I've already kind of felt that or thought that.
Right.
But, you know, Crowley was one that I got into. You actually loaned me the Book of the Law. And it wasn't for like a year until I, you know, discovered that he was employed by like Russian governments and shit like that.
Americans too.
American government.
British too.
That he was friends with L. Ron Hubbard. That's the one that really fucked me up.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
But it made sense. Yeah, exactly. That's why it fucked me up so hard, is because it made so much sense.
I can't remember which president either, but he was entangled with our president.
But it's like, okay, and like not to defend like Crowley or anything, but just like to sort of like give their merit for what they did. It's like, I feel like that it's like Crowley was actually truly invested in it, while L. Ron Hubbard said, like, hey, I see what this guy's doing. This is a great way for me to get followers and make money.
I think Crowley was invested in it, but the way that he portrayed himself and came off was like dickish and egotistical and like trying to be like, ooh, look how spooky I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where it became an act as opposed to being like altruistic and loving and doing what you're doing out of the goodness of your heart, as opposed to like doing it for an image.
Right.
Is what it seemed like at a certain not that he was into the things any less. Mm-hmm. But it seemed like at a certain point it was for an image.
Right. I mean, I guess
also who I could easily go home tonight and
say
take fucking 5 hits of LSD and post pictures with it on my tongue, and then tell you guys that I scribed with iWAS my, you know, what the fuck ever. I can do that too.
Right.
We all do that. Give me a piece of paper. I'll scribe right now for you.
Uh-huh.
I'll write a religion. Let's do it.
Right.
That's the thing that gets me about the Bible too. It's like, well, you know, God spoke to me. And in all kinds of religions, people say that a God or a deity or whatever the fuck it spoke to them. Are you sure it wasn't your own? It's thought. So it means it's within. It's a part of you. It's all one thing. What you experienced isn't any different what I experienced. It's just you called it something different.
Do you think the thoughts that come within come from like a higher plane or like a higher dimension or whatever you want to call it?
I think some thoughts are formulated. Some thoughts are divine. And some are formulated based on memory, based on memory and interests, essentially. Right. You know what I mean? You form that thought based on influence. But what you fill your funnel with is what's going to influence you. I definitely believe that people can be divinely spoke to or through. You know what I mean? Like that, and like I said earlier, I believe we're all extensions of the universe or whatever. That the Big Bang is, you know, a giant music note, and that we're all fucking doing the dance and singing the song. Mm-hmm. Which, if that's the case, then that means, you know, God speaks very beautifully through Mike when he raps about depression or anything, you know, cocaine addiction and shit like that. Mm-hmm. I love the way God speaks through me when he wants to talk about murdering child molesters. Right. You know, I love when God speaks through you and talks about school shooters with manifestos, or what the fuck, mass shooters with manifestos.
Another thing, this is probably off subject, but God. Another thing about God, there's this thing that people have, which I've never, through any of the religious texts of any civilization, I've never understood how they got this concept that God is like the person that is going to keep you from horrible things happening to you like that. Everybody's always like, well, if God is this, then why does he let people starve, and why does he let this? But it's not like that, and none of the religions say that. They just say if you walk in a godly manner, then your life should be productive.
Right.
But at the same time, it also says that you're given free will. Like in free will, you're not. If it's God's plan, I don't think God has a plan. I think it's like a science experiment.
It's random.
It's like he's like, here, I'm gonna give you free will. You have unlimited paths. You choose what you choose, but you gotta suffer the consequences to whatever you choose, whether good or bad. So like, and because if God is the Alpha and the Omega, that means he is the killer and the killed. That means he is the good. He is the bad. So, like, God is a killer and God is a fucking savior. So
the yin and the yang, man. The yin and the yang is all around the basis of you can't have light without darkness. You know what I'm saying? You can't have peace without war. You can't have good without bad. And, I think a lot of times people get down, and a lot of people that are religious or have these, theological beliefs like, oh, why would God do this? Why would God do that? I mean, I look at if there is a God, he's kind of like a person's meant to guide, but not to always fix. You know what I'm saying? It's like you rely on him for your own, for guidance and your own will and what you should do, kind of, you know what I mean?
It shows you the good, the
like
bad.
Yeah, like a mentor, but it's still on you as an individual, because without your individuality, we would just be robots. You know what I'm saying? If nothing bad ever happened and you didn't have choice, man, like, because I think about this all the time when we talk about like if you talk about Adam and Eve, like the Garden of Eden and stuff like that, if you never bit that, took the tree of knowledge, it's like, you would just be like a robot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would just walk around. And, like, how appreciative could you be of the good if you didn't know there was bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're, like, let's just say, first person that comes to mind, like Jay-Z, billionaire rich right now. Dude, I'm sure he's completely grateful for everything he has because he came from the other end of it. You know what I'm saying? And pulled himself up from the slums and all that. So, yeah.
I think there's a little bit of shadow work to be played by a lot of people. Because it's all... Everybody just wants to be good and wants to be good and wants to be good without recognizing their capacity for fucking bad.
Right.
And there's also a reason, like I said, just in the text, there's also a reason why it was written, for one, by man, whether anybody wants to acknowledge that or not, whether it is the word, some of it is the word of God or some of it isn't. It was written by man in such a way that they tell you that you're supposed to be obedient to your masters regardless of anything. You know what I mean? So, like, it's like that's God tells you to be obedient. So you can see the bullshit parts when you read it, and the parts that were just put in there by man to fucking control system. But some of the messages in there are
there's truth to them.
good.
Dude, I love the Bible. I mean, especially a little of the New Testament and like the Gospels. Like, who is it? Nehemiah. Yeah, me and Fern were talking about this or not. Like, look, Christianity as itself, and this is coming from someone that grew up in the church, has been very, like, often just damaged, and just people have taken advantage of it, and
it's
people.
One of the biggest fucking.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things that turns people away from Christianity is Christians. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if you take, the story of Jesus was a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really say, anything. He taught peace, he taught love, he taught loving your enemy, he taught accepting people different than you, he sacrificed himself for the good of man. So although Christians are dicks.
See, but not just that stuff, though. That's a lot of doctrine. Jesus also walked with sex
prostitutes.
workers and whipped politicians and spoke out against
Right. He was against the establishment and all that.
I like how you politically correctly called them sex workers.
Whores!
My stand-up, I call them prostitutes.
Lot lizards.
Yeah, lot lizards. Jesus.
We respect your trade.
If Jesus was alive today,
Nothing against your trade.
He would be friends with Ethos.
I'm just not PC. I'm sorry.
Jesus would be out there pushing bitches' feet pics if he was alive today.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I wouldn't just assume anybody's a feet man.
Jesus would be on backpages.com. He's like, who?
Hold on, didn't
Can I
Jesus?
witness to?
Didn't Jesus like anoint the feet of lepers and shit?
Nah, he just healed lepers.
Okay, I thought he anointed.
He did the feet washing.
There's like a feet washing thing, right?
Yeah, like Mary Magdalene washed his feet, and she used the perfume. And all
So
that.
he was a feet guy.
Yeah, she used like
That weird.
It wasn't
fuck.
just-
I already discredited him. Now I don't believe in any of it. I don't trust any of you feet guys.
Hey, he was a
You're a big
sexual
fan of Muhammad
libertarian.
now?
No, well, I was a fan of Muhammad, and Muhammad is just another messenger of
It
it.
is.
Of the
Wasn't he
same
like a
words.
little more like you
Get the
know?
messenger. Did you get the message? Fucking Eddie Griffin.
No, I don't think he was like Muhammad.
Wasn't he like more like
Muhammad's just
killing
like
infidels?
no. Muhammad's just like Jesus. People didn't start killing over Jesus until his followers told him that they needed to spread it through the world. So it was like in the start of it, Muslims were supposed to live peacefully and protect themselves against outside invaders. And that's where the original like ruthlessness of them came, because they were like non-tolerant to other people trying to shut them down, so they would protect their surrounding areas. But and then the people after Muhammad dies, the people that followed and started branching off different teachings of Muhammad, those are the people that started murdering in the name of monotheism. And it's no different than like the Catholics. It's the same principle. Like they just fucking they raped and murdered their prospective fucking areas. Like, especially like Egypt and shit. Like the Muslims like fucking took over that whole entire chunk.
Yeah, I can't speak
ruthlessly.
on Muhammad too much, but yeah, I know Catholicism basically just used Christianity as a veil to, you know, pretty much run their organization like the mafia. You know what I mean? Like kind of like the Franklin cover-up. You know, we'll put Jesus in front so people think it's a safe haven, and once we get them in there, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, and then they created they literally, if you're Catholic, you can say I'm an asshole, whatever the fuck you want to call me. But if you're going by the laws of the Pope and the Vatican, you are literally the definition of what Antichrist is, because in the Bible, you're not supposed to put anything in front of God, and they literally worship the Pope like he is a god. The Pope and the hierarchy of the Vatican Church is worshipped like gods and held to that standard. And they created the hierarchy, like everything in the Catholic Church, everything, no matter where you're at in the world, has to go through the fucking Vatican City and be authorized in Vatican City before any changes can be made outside, and that's the whole worldwide.
Isn't that fucked up that they actually
fucked up.
believe like a man has this direct line to God, and that
The craziest part is that it's the Romans, the people that were basically commissioned to kill Jesus, who is the main figure, well, the second main figure in their religion. They're the ones that literally killed the man because of the Jewish or the Israelites back in the day when they turned Jesus over.
Well, I mean, if you believe
Pontius Pilate.
in Jesus and you're a Christian and you believe, you know, in the Gospels and everything, like obviously, like you believe that we all kind of have a direct line to God, as if we're one with them. But
That's
like
what
you
Jesus said.
is like it's fucked up to think that like people think there's this hierarchy, and no, you don't get to be one with your Redeemer and you know your prophet. No, exactly. We'll tell you what he says. It's just a fucked up.
They also say
fucked up concept.
They also I think I've always thought this was kind of cool, is that the Catholic Church is the first spying agency, because they're the only ones that practice the what do they call it,
confessionals.
Right.
Like they have confess. It was the first like
Yeah.
surveillance because you're supposed to be comfortable and be able to confess all your sins in like the privacy of the not the Vatican, but the preacher. He's not allowed to tell any of the information, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Catholic priests are just eavesdroppers. That's all.
Right. It's pretty crazy though.
They're just a nosy bunch. Yeah, man. Hey, that's mind blowing.
Squished it.
Fucking Catholic Church. I ain't got nothing against Catholics. Don't.
Yeah,
take
yeah.
that personally.
No,
It's
okay,
not
I
about-
know.
It's not about what your belief is. It's about the hierarchy and the structure of your belief system that I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't got anything against...
That's the same with me with Christianity as
Yeah.
a whole.
It's
I'm
not the
against
people.
Christians, yeah.
That too, and I also do have a bone to pick with Christians though, like, cause like I don't have nothing against them. I've read what they follow, and I have my own beliefs about God and stuff based off of all of the texts from that time, and God damn it, Stoner.
Your problem, bone to pick with the Christians.
Oh, bone to pick with the Christians. Y'all motherfuckers need to stop acting like your religion has been fucking the most peaceful thing to ever fucking come to this world, because whether you want to fucking acknowledge it or not, your fucking religion has raped and pillaged more of the world than almost any other religion. So, like, first off, you need to fucking acknowledge that shit and move on. Like, because it's kind of ridiculous that there's this fucking thing where people are all like, well, Christians would never fucking do that because they're Christians, they're godly people. It's like, nah, motherfucker. Most atrocities in the past 1,000 years have been committed by Christians in the name of Christianity. Fuck, and then they use Christianity.
Crusades?
Yeah, and they use Christianity to do other horrible things, like enslave people. Like that shit was only fucking 200 years ago that people were still in chains, justified by Christianity.
Well, how many of these wars are being fought right now, and all this shit going on in the Middle East and all that, because
it's all over.
A holy man is supposed to come back to this holy land, or what the fuck ever. So we're all fighting over this one chunk of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For ages.
That's another thing that's crazy to me too, right? Like I've talked about, like I'm not anti any religion. You should be able to have your own fucking religion. Everybody should be able to practice their spirituality and stuff like that. But there are certain things that we do need to acknowledge, like Christians in the state of Israel itself. Like we Christians created the state of Israel for Israelis. Like it wasn't Jewish folks that created the state of Israel. It was the mass Christian population of the Western Hemisphere, or the Western powers, that gifted the land of Palestine to the Israelis. And now that's something that is wrong in itself. You can't take a bunch of European and people just from all over the world and take someone's land. We should have learned from the mistake that we made with the Native Americans. You can't just take someone's land and give it to another group of people that don't live and haven't lived in that area for thousands of years and just think it's going to go okay.
Right.
And then you give them the nuclear weapons. Like there's no, like how is Israel the only Middle Eastern country that's got nuclear weapons?
It's insane.
Like India's the only one close enough, and Pakistan's got nukes as well, but like the only direct Middle Eastern countries to have nuclear weapons is Israel. And like the thing that blows my mind is when it comes to Christians in Israel. Like I'm saying, I'm not trying to knock your religion or anything, but if you read your text, and if you read Jewish doctrine, Jews do not believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
As who he is. They do not believe.
They don't believe he was the Messiah.
Yeah, they don't believe he was the Messiah. So that literally puts them in the category of Antichrist. I'm not saying that Jewish people are the Antichrist. I'm saying that them going against your God literally makes them anti-Christ because they don't believe he exists.
Yeah.
So why are you going to help these people that don't believe in everything of your life? Like the main thing.
I would say probably because that they're the Jewish are considered in like most Abrahamic religions as God's people, and also Jesus himself was a Jew. So probably that. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I get what you're saying. I would say probably that's why like Christians kind of have like a soft spot or so. Like they dismiss that and like you're cool. You're cool in our book.
I think it's also a partial of them scripting Armageddon. Mm-hmm. Like that might just be me fucking going all crazy, but it's like they're literally scripting Armageddon because
the Jews or the Christians.
Both. It's like it's just a happening all in.
That goes back to me saying that it's all an act, and that certain people have control and have the resources to manipulate thought and program you. And
because the end times for Jewish folks is the Savior comes, and there's peace for a while, and then like the end happens, and then it goes into peace again, and then but he has to the Antichrist and the Christian religion has to come through the third temple of King Solomon in the land of Israel.
This is all in Revelations.
Yeah, it's all in Revelations, and we're getting close to that. Mm-hmm. Like whether anybody wants to acknowledge it or not.
I'm gonna read Revelations when I get home.
It's my favorite book. I've read it. It's my favorite book in the Bible. I've read it like fucking 5 times. Nice. Fucking
I haven't read it enough.
I'm just saying, Christians. It says right in Revelations. I think it's like I have to look it up and I will fucking post it in the comments later. The actual book, but I'm sure it's like I think it's like 19. But it clearly says right in there, it says, beware of the synagogue of Satan, the Jews that claim they are Jews, but they are not. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
I mean, beware of false prophets.
People are going to think I'm anti-Semitic after this, but I tell you what right now, and I got Middle Eastern friends that fucking Muslims are Semitic people too. Like if the Abrahamic religions, anybody that is a direct descendant from the people of Abraham are Semitic people, and that includes Christians and Jews and all that shit. I'm more anti-Zionist movement because I just don't believe it's right to do what we have done over the past 100 years, because what we've done is we've taken a place where there was inhabited millions of people, and then we shipped in we colonized the Middle East in the name of Zionism. And so fucking God damn it, lost my train of thought.
You said we shipped a bunch of people into Israel and colonized them?
Yeah, okay. And our main reasoning for doing that was
Tanksy has a comment in the YouTube chat room. I don't know if you guys are following the YouTube
chat. What does it say?
The U.S. has a stronghold in the Middle East because Israel is just a puppet mini-state of the U.S.
See, I believe it's the other way around, buddy. I don't know. I don't remember who you are, but I believe it's the other way around. Shit.
Thanks for listening, Tanksy.
Yeah, thank you for listening, buddy.
In the YouTube chat, man.
But but what they're doing is no different than what Hitler was doing to them in the first place. Like, and that's one of the biggest things that people do not want to acknowledge to this day. Like, the Palestinian people are like on the verge of not having a homeland, and they've been treated so horribly for the fucking forever now, ever since it all started Like it's just been fucking war and murder after it, and it's like we're giving these people something because they were treated so horribly, yet when they do something in the same light,
it's forgiven.
Yeah, it's okay because it's them and they deserve to be there, and they're allowed to murder as many as they want. Now that being said, I'm not saying that on the Palestinian side there isn't horrible Muslims out there that are just trying to fucking kill whatever just to go for their cause. It's like anything else. There's leaders and corruptions in the higher ups of every facet of it. But my main thing is like we cannot make it so where somebody is uncondemnable just because they lived through a horrible past.
Yeah,
it doesn't give us the right to say that Jewish people or the state of Israel itself can't do any wrong because you can't just tell somebody they're anti-Semitic because they don't agree with people being murdered in mass. And it doesn't even have to be like straight gun murdered. Half of these places are walled in and the resource channels are fucking are so tight that some of them just starve to death. Like, and it's just crazy. And then the second you go to condemn anything about it, especially Jesus, don't be fucking white and condemn any other kind of fucking racial person for anything, because then you just get called fucking racist for it. But it's like, nah, man, I'm literally just trying to, like, I see something, I see the way things are going, I watch these news reports, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, as I was watching one the other day, it was on Joe Rogan. This girl was, it was one of the girls that was like, she's a Jewish person, and she's a Zionist, and I can't remember her name, but it was literally one of the last 5 podcasts.
Okay.
And she was saying she was trying to make a point, and she was like, see, they talk about all the horrible stuff that happens to Palestinians in Israel, but they don't talk about all the horrible stuff that's happening to the Palestine refugees in all the Muslim countries that surround Israel. And I'm like, yo, you do realize those refugees that got pushed out of Palestine wouldn't exist if you didn't come in and encroach on their living space. It's like you literally created those bad conditions in those other countries just so you could have a good situation. And it's perfectly okay with you. You don't care because you got your rock. You got your rock to stand on, and it's your rock now.
Israel has more nukes than any other country, even us.
I don't believe that one, but
who's that?
George Lucas says that.
Yeah, I don't believe
George Lucas.
That's what the name says.
I don't believe that just because we're fucking America and we just like shit that goes boom, all right?
Bang.
And I don't think anybody. I think the only close second is the Russians, because they like to fuck shit up just like we do, all right?
Rock, flag, eagle.
Plus, America
fucking right
knows the 2 rules of success, which is
kill.
Don't tell everything you know.
Yeah, and kill.
And kill. And kill again.
We fucking wholesale freedom if you want some. That's all I'm saying. Wholesale that shit.
I gotta use that tomorrow, man. Some good old boys would love that one. We wholesale freedom, son.
And like I said, man, that's not anything racist. We can't just start saying that it's racist to condemn.
No, like just to pick off what you're talking about, like, and I need to brush up a little more on the Palestinian, like, Israeli conflict and shit like that. But I mean, at the same time, like, yeah, I hear it from both ends. The Israel's, the people that are on the side of Israel, and they talk about it's only the Palestinians doing it, and people on the side of Palestinians act like it's only Israel doing it. And I'm sure there's a balance, saying, and a back and forth between the both of them. But at the same time, I do notice that, like, yeah, it does seem a lot of the times like any criticism of Israel is automatically conflated into anti-Semitism, in which, like, they're pretty much immune from any sort of, they can't be talked about, they can't be discussed, they can't be condemned for anything that they do, it seems like, Especially, and we talk a lot about how the left, free speech and gun grabbing, you know what I'm saying? And that's definitely something from the right that I've noticed, whether it's true or not, because like I said, I don't know, but is that, like, which I'm pretty sure Israel has blood on their hands like any other country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's almost like you can't, no. You know what I'm saying?
That's also not. That's also not.
Oh, that's cool.
That's also not condemning the whole like population of Israel, man. They're just doing what the fuck they're ordered to do by their people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's good and bad people in every area of the world.
Yeah. Every culture, every field, every race, every. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Definitely a good way to spin out.
Right. Yep.
Talking about conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
the thing about it is all the rabbit holes they fucking connect.
They're definitely about to just shut down my whole fucking.
Oh yeah, you're canceled.
They're gonna shut down my
I don't know if you knew
Facebook.
that.
They're gonna shut down.
You just pretty much went all anti-Semitic right here.
Yeah,
so.
I just got out.
They run Hollywood, so don't expect a record deal now, Mike. All right.
I'm gonna.
Interscope's not looking at you.
Just go become friends with Alex Jones, and we can talk about how we got banned from the internet.
Yeah. Hey. Get my demo tape to T.I. next time I see him. How about that?
Nah, man, I love everybody, bro. I love everybody. That
I do too.
I have this theory that like it's almost like one of the theories of just like that we are all, like we are everything and everything is us. But my theory is that like the good in people, that is the we.
Mm-hmm.
Like good people have a we.
It's a frequency.
Yeah, it's a frequency. We have the we, us. We are everything that is good and everything that, like, good intentions for the most part. And then there's them and they. And those are all the people that fucking wish to do harm to people or just are bad people in general. Like, they're not on the same frequency as us. So
like the people in this book.
Right, so they are not us and the collective conscious, us and them. It's the evil and the good. It's just different frequencies. I probably said that really horribly wrong. Yeah. I ranted about that one time real fucking hard on an acid trip tangent trying to explain shit to people. And I think I explained it that time better than I could ever explain it.
You pretty much nailed it. Not that I would ever do acid with you or that I was with you in that moment, but you nailed it that time. I was being a hippie and I was like, come on, Mike, no, it's like echoes, it's like us and, we're all, I am, he is, you are, he is, you are me. And he was like, no, it's not. There are certain people who are on this frequency and that's us. But then there's them and they're on this frequency.
And I made the reference literally like the pedophiles, but I made it with like something that's really personal to me.
Yeah.
And like it's just like
well, it wasn't just that too. There was a local person too that was getting the energy vampire.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? And as far as frequency goes, we can easily go to the extremes. There's hardworking people, and people that do right and try their best to be, as helpful as they can to society. And then you got pedophiles and murderers. Also, you got people that are just fucking petty, salty drains on and negative people. Fuck Scott because. Fuck Scott because I see Scott out doing his thing with his podcast and his website and his comedy.
People do well.
Right. Fuck Mike because he's got that song out and people are liking it and that song's not even that, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. There's like those people, which I don't get people that just like I've never been a negative person, but I've definitely found myself like kind of like not like negativity in the form of like hating on people, but just getting down on myself kind of. But it's like, it's no way to live, man. You got to find the best in yourself and try to, if you find somebody in a bind, bring them out of it. But like, I've never understood people that just don't.
Seems like there's
that knock a man for trying. I've never been that type. I've always.
Seems like there's a couple different types. There's like the just genuine hater,
assholes,
right? Just so someone who's a hater who doesn't want to see other people do well, or then you have the people like Mike was talking about who kind of want to do harm to people. The child molesters and such.
They're predators.
And then you have people that are just thought manipulators too. People that they get a kick out of having a power over your
Yeah, no matter how trivial it is.
Yeah.
Just as simple as like you come off the stage and you just did a hell of a set and everybody's laughing their ass off and high five you, and then you see that guy in the bar and they make some slick comment like, yeah, I mean that was good, but I saw better before. You know what I'm saying? Like leave that shit in your head. Like I don't get people like that.
Well, it's even Mike's song. I posted Mike's song yesterday with a long description, and somebody comments on it. This song is hot garbage.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Fuck
and
them.
I was like, what fucking song did you
No,
listen
they
to?
didn't even fuck them. They didn't even fuck them. The way I look at that shit is that everybody's got an opinion.
That's true, too.
Not everybody. It's the same way with you guys and what you do.
That's true.
Not everybody is going to find your jokes funny.
Right.
And that's perfectly okay.
Not everybody does.
I don't, and you can talk as much trash as you want. I'm one of those, like, I'm fucking Joe Rogan. He's a fucking man. I'm living his. I don't pay attention to comments.
Yeah.
Like all I care about is like the stats and numbers, because all those negative comments you give me more fucking pull. So
Right. But my point, like you said not whatever, you're entitled to your opinion. Put it this way: if I heard your song and I didn't like your song, you know what I would do? Keep it moving. I wouldn't go out of my way to make a negative comment. I would just say, hey, it's not my cup of tea.
Something you say when you've been hosting shows that I really like, and I'm going to start saying, but it's like if we're funny, laugh, cheer, maybe slap your knee. If you don't think we're funny, just judge us with your silence.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Judge us with your silence.
Yeah. And your
that's not
cold
the truest
stares.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah. I did that the first time I hosted, just in case, because I read that article that you gave me, and it's like just in case. People don't know how to act at a comedy show. Because I think some people that are rambunctious at heart that have never been to a comedy show think it's like, hey, I can just come here and I can just stand up and scream at the comic and, I can be part of the whole act. It's like, no, there is a certain level of participation that we have. But still, it's like, no, you're the audience member and people up on the stage are performing.
We'll do the Q&A portion after the show.
Right. I'm saying there's going to be parts of the shows like, you know what I mean, huh? This guy knows what I'm saying. But.
You're right though, Mike. I wasn't necessarily saying like fuck that guy or whatever, but it was like, I don't know, maybe it's just personal to me because that song is so important to me.
It's natural instinct for anybody, for anything you like, when somebody is like, yo, that is trash, and you're like, hold up, you said that on the last podcast. It's like it's when somebody hits that trigger in you.
Oh yeah.
That automatic.
Everybody has their bias.
Yeah, because they hit that trigger about something that you're passionate about.
Right.
Like, hold up. What the fuck did you? Fuck you. Like,
but then again, there's a difference between passion and like personal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because like I might be passionate about Nas. I love Nas. But if someone says fuck Nas, it's like whatever. If someone says fuck Scott Wharton, it's like, hey, that's my buddy.
There's also a line between like criticism and like just being a hater and a shithead.
Right. There's constructive criticism.
When I first started doing comedy, people were like, "This is awful." But I see what you're trying to do, and maybe if you do A, B, and C, you'll be better. And then there was people that was like, kill yourself. Comedy's full. I remember that was a comment that someone said.
Comedy's full?
Comedy's full.
Like no one's...
Give up. It's full. Stop trying. Don't try to be a comedian, because comedy is full. And I was
There's no room left, pretty much.
Sometimes that still hits my brain when I'm writing jokes. Comedy is full. I'm like, fuck that.
Uh-huh.
I have my moments of doubt, but then I have those moments where I'm like, and I'm not trying to be egotistical, but at the same time, you have to fucking believe in yourself, and I could headline, I could feature.
I mean,
I know I could.
Brian Kearns was referring to comedy, say we pretty much signed up to get, constantly punched in the face. I mean, I think that goes for all of us, just, being there and, putting our stuff out there and, hoping it's well received. It's just signing up to fucking get punched in the face.
Because no matter what, there's going to be people who are haters.
Yeah,
and I think what it is people who want to do comedy or rap or whatever it is, and it's not even necessarily that they're not talented, it's just that they don't have the fucking balls to get up on stage.
They don't have the balls, or they don't have the...
Or don't have the... Fuck George Lucas. It's not even his real name.
I would like George Lucas, but...
It's a lot of words. I can't read them.
I don't feel like reading it. It's fine. We're having a conversation.
He's right.
No, it's nuclear.
No, he's right.
Hey, put that back.
He's definitely right in what he says.
Israel is one of the 5 nations.
Israel is one of the only 5 nations in the world that refused to sign the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. an international treaty aimed at ending the proliferation of nuclear weapons.
Mike co-signed that. He said that's right.
Israel does blatantly lie about their nuclear capabilities. Probably don't have as much as us, but they might as well have more because they have us at their disposal, but we're not at theirs.
And another thing too, I just wanted for everybody to know, like, most of my information that I've gotten on Israel, besides reading actual like government documentation and like war information, comes from Norman Finkelstein, who is a Jewish person who is direct descendant of Holocaust survivors. He is like, so y'all don't get it.
You're not listening to white nationalists.
Yeah, I'm not listening to no fucking Nazi propaganda. I'm listening
He's listening to Richard Spence again.
I'm listening to a Jewish person condemning Zionism for the war crimes that they commit. So
what's his name? Finkelstein?
Norman Finkelstein.
Norman Finkelstein, check him out.
He went viral mainly because he's a professor. He went viral for telling like he was given a speech at a school, and it was question and answer time, and one of the girls got up there and started getting super emotional and was like, I don't see how you can
crocodile tears.
Yeah, the crocodile.
I don't
tears.
care about your crocodile.
Yeah,
I know you're talking about.
He said
crocodile tears.
You're not gonna stand up here and give me those fucking crocodile tears, because I had a mom that was in Auschwitz and his dad was in another concentration camp, and he's like, you're not gonna use their dead bodies as a reason to make more dead bodies.
Right.
In another.
I like him just built that tape.
Yeah,
just what I saw there. How he just called it out.
It's powerful, bro, because
it's true.
It speaks for itself.
Because a lot of times now, like, we talk about, the SJWs and stuff. They think emotion is replaces like logic. You know what I'm saying? Like, the more emotional I am, the more sense I make. The more angry I get, the more it substantiates my arguments. And it doesn't work like that. So you can stand up there and crying about something.
But it goes both ways. I feel like people who are far, not everyone who's far right, because there's some dumb motherfuckers over there. But a lot of people who are super conservative tend to look at everything from an analytical standpoint and not adding compassion to the equation at all. Compassion is a variable that stays over there.
Right.
Fuck, screw anybody else.
I see that.
It's just whatever to get my pockets bigger.
I've said before, me and my cousin were talking.
To an extent.
So there needs to be a balance.
To an extent. That's in the upper reaches, but a lot of conservative stuff.
Or blue collar.
A lot of that is it's just a provide for yourself mentality.
Yeah.
It's being conservative. Yeah. Being conservative.
You make what you you eat what you make, pretty much.
But in the fringes, of course, in the far right, that's where you get the motherfuckers that are there just to fucking create more capital for the fucking rich people.
Oh yeah. But here's the thing.
There is a lot of good. That's why you literally can't be far right or far left. That's why it's always somewhere in the middle, because fucking where it's right, because fucking there's truth on both sides of that aisle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the elitists, they don't get any of it because the conservatives still run the debt up just as much as the liberals do. So it's like they just trade the powerful just trade who's gonna run our debt up even higher. Which there's probably gonna be a collection date set at some point, because I don't think anybody likes being owed $22 trillion.
No,
I've owed drug dealers money before, like 200, and they were upset about that. So I can only imagine how pissed off China is.
No, but going back to what you were saying, like my cousin.
I don't think it's China directly that we owe money to.
You think it's just international bankers as different billionaires scattered?
Scattered around the world.
Probably a lot of Saudi Arabian.
We owe more. We owe money to multiple people all across the world. China's just one of the fucking names that they're a good boogeyman.
How many people owe money to us though?
A good boogeyman.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we could pay our debts by the money that people owed us. You know,
quite a few. Just for our protection in general, we're like the mob in a sense around the whole world. We're
come stomp you around, tell you can't have a military, and then you have to pay us to keep so we can have our base here.
We keep you
to
safe.
Protect you.
That and the waters. We'll keep you safe in the waters.
But yeah, going back to what you said earlier about like how you can be too analytical, I just want to get this out real quick. It's like I had a conversation with my cousin one time, and I said that I feel like the thing is that I feel like the left sometimes lacks dependability. Like nobody is responsible for their own actions. They're always a product. It's always, it's the gun's fault, not the person's fault. It's, because they grew up this way, blah, blah, blah. And then, like you said, I feel like the right sometimes there's a lack of compassion. Like, I'm saying, well, they shouldn't have done that, but they can't see, like, well, maybe it's because of the certain conditions that, they were involved in. So I get what you're saying.
There's this anecdote story. I can't remember who it was on Rogan that told it. He was talking about the Chilean miners. Right? Remember years ago when they had the miners got stuck in Chile? And how when shit first got bad, right, when they were stuck down there, that the first group of people that were like leading everybody were like conservative Republican people that were like kind of gung-ho, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We got to get the fuck out of here. We got to mine ourselves out of here. We got to go. But after weeks of being in there and everybody's starting to lose their gusto and shit, the more liberal people were the ones that started kind of taking over because it was like a compassion thing that was like, hey, we're going to get out of here. Mm-hmm. We're going to, let's think our way through this.
Yeah.
But it switched back and forth. It was like in this moment we needed that fucking soldier mentality. And in this moment we needed this, hold on, I need to be here for my fellow man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to get back to your family.
I feel like there's like room for both because I feel like some of my friends, if they need to hear something, sometimes they respond better to like, dude, get the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes like you said before, like, man, someone needs to tell me just get the fuck off Facebook. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, get your shit together, get your life. And then sometimes people respond more to like, hey man, everything's gonna be okay. I just think, if you just, what I'm saying, kind of talk it out, discuss it more. Yeah, so yeah, definitely there's room for both. And I think that's, pretty much everything that we have like kind of like advocated for has always been like bringing it in the middle. Like there's truth in this side of religion and there's truth in that side. Now let's find the middle part. There's truth in this side of politics and that side, let's find the middle of it.
I think it's important for everybody to question everything as much as they can. I also think it's important to have people around you to keep you in check and not just surround yourself with an echo chamber.
Oh, yeah.
And that if you have a friend, I tell people all the time that Mike is one of my best friends because of the fact that he keeps me in check. That's one of the reasons why I fucking love Mike so much. Because he's not scared to tell me I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I fucking need that in my life. I can't stand a yes man.
I'm also not foolish enough to think that I'm right all the time either.
Yeah,
I'm fucking dumb as hell.
Yeah, same.
A lot of shit.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that a lot of people could learn to admit in this country and in this world. And even myself sometimes, I let my arrogance get in the way.
Me and you have had the best screenshots.
Look at that.
And it's like when it's frozen.
I mean, yeah, all the freeze frames
pictures.
have been like almost glamour shots.
I know this is still shaking, but you're like perfectly still.
It looks like I'm like making a good point.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, this motherfucker, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, Mike's about to sock me, is what it looks like. What? Go across the table with it.
How long have we been doing this, Eric?
Almost 3 hours, bro.
More than 3 hours.
No!
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
this is
3 hours and 10 minutes.
This is the part where you're like, God, guys, we did 3 hours.
Back, I'm ready to hit the foam roller, dude. My back is killing me.
How long is... But when they do the conspiracy ones with Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo on Joe Rogan, they go like 4 or 5 hours. That last one was like 5 hours long, wasn't it?
Last one's good, too.
Next time, let's talk about our top 3 favorite movies.
Top 3 favorite movies. I'm sure something people would like to hear us talk about.
I don't know if I'm allowed to stop talking about my favorite movies.
Are they all pornographic?
Yes.
I knew it, dude. Yeah, your whole Facebook is just asses. That's what I've noticed, dude.
I can't help
Political
it, man.
memes and ass and titties. That's Mike right there in a nutshell, dude. I don't,
Most of the ass
Thanks for the eye
titties,
candy.
Most of the ass and titties, too, is like, Of course, yes, there is ass and titties in it, but if you look at it, a lot of it is really for just the tattoos.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it is... Like,
oh, my God. He sounds like the guy that says, I read Playboy for the article.
All I'm saying there are good articles in Playboy.
That's a really funny analogy,
Just
Pete. You
saying.
tried to joke about that. Tattoo, yeah. I like that.
But, yeah, dude. No,
Be sure to click the bell and subscribe
Yes.
to this podcast.
Yes.
and raise the roof, guys.
And
We got to bring back
do that to Mike's fucking...
Yeah, do that to
page,
Mike's
too.
YouTube as well. You can find me there at Mike Willis Man. If you type that in, it'll bring up my YouTube page.
My business partner.
Hey, thanks, Tanksy, and thanks, Madman Lowercase.
Madman's telling people to subscribe.
That's you.
No, that's my partner.
Oh, thanks.
The other guy that runs the studio. He's telling people to subscribe.
Well, thanks
And
both of you
shout out to
for being on YouTube. And most people are on Facebook, so that's cool.
And shout out to FXBG Public Radio for letting us get on here.
Yeah, for real.
Thank you, Eric.
And
Thank you, Eric.
remember that our views do not reflect
So check this
FXBG
out, Eric.
Radio.
Next time we're doing this is the second Monday in March, by the way. So I think it's the 9th.
All of us.
March 9th. Yeah. Eric, I want you to have a camera on you next time. We can put this camera on you.
Third camera.
And then,
The man behind all the madness.
I like that. That's a good idea.
But just remember,
Eric needs to be on one.
just remember,
He needs to be like her Jamie.
And he can always be like that camera, because since he's always in and out, you can just cut it on and off at your own.
Like this.
Yeah, like at your
Or
own.
like this. Or like this.
Get all these demons that's inside of me. Sport this pain in my heart that you never.
That was awesome. How you liking that new toy?
It's great. It's phenomenal. It makes everything easy.
Yeah, man, it really makes this $50 an hour podcast time worth it.
I got this fucking idea for a podcast I want to do, but we can't do it here.
At least not on Mondays.
Well, no, I don't think we can. I don't think he's prepared to have me in his house for 12 hours. So
we need a bunker for that podcast.
Yeah, we need an undisclosed.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly,
Silo.
undisclosed location. We're gonna bring you the Manly Weird podcast.
All right, so let's
Are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
You haven't said goodbye yet.
Yeah, so
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I know
Hey,
you guys
guys.
gotta go. I know you gotta work
This
early.
was fun. Thank you.
Man, you ain't the host, motherfucker.
I'm just talking as a guest. I had fun as a guest. So yeah, everybody, the floor to your host.
Tell him to go fuck himself one time. It feels great.
Oh, trust me. I know. Scott, you're a great guy.
He always tells our friend Eric to do that, right? And then we're all fucking tripping at a party, and Eric comes down to me, and he's like, granted, 10 minutes before this, Mike had just come downstairs while I was in the middle of, like, being a comedian and shit, was like, why are you so loud for, man? 10 minutes later, Eric comes downstairs. He's like, hey, Scott, Mike Willis told me to tell you that he loves you and cares about you. Something along those lines. Something really nice.
Nice.
And I looked at Eric, and I was like, no, he didn't fucking say it. He told you to go tell Scott to shut the fuck up, and now you're saying Mike said he loves me.
Yeah,
He's saying that.
He edited it.
No, he's saying that because every time that I tell Eric to tell Scott to go fuck himself, like maybe 1 out of 3 he'll actually tell him to fuck himself, but the other ones he's such a good person, he just can't do it. Like he won't let himself tell Scott to go fuck himself.
Go fuck
He's
yourself.
like, you know what, Scott? I love you, man.
I love you, Internal Dynamics. If you're
fucking
watching,
love Eric, man.
you're my brother,
He was
man.
giving me shit the other night. We're gonna have him
That
on
did
again
feel
soon.
liberating when I told him to go fuck himself, dude.
Told you, bro.
Like, I
Feels
feel
good.
reborn almost, dude. You know?
Now call your cousin and tell your cousin to go fuck himself after him.
Egg.
Pete and I had a mutual bully when we were kids. Shared trauma. All right, so
But yeah, go follow me on all social media platforms. Instagram is at Mike Willis _get 'em. Sorry, Mike Willis _get 'em on Instagram, and then Mike Willis on Facebook. You can also follow my music page on Facebook. And then
just trying to throw it up for you.
yeah.
It didn't work the way I planned.
It's okay.
You
We're
can-
new to this.
You can go download my music for free on SoundCloud at Call Me Mike Willis is the SoundCloud with spaces in between it. And the YouTube, like I said, you just type in Mike Willis, man, all one word in the space in the search bar, and it'll bring you to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to that shit, and you'll be up to date on new videos and all that stuff. So
I'm gonna hit you with the razor ramon on that one.
Oh, I gotta go. So what do I do?
Hold on, wait. That means I need to do this.
Now I'm gonna do the Hulk. I'm gonna rip my sweater
You
off.
gotta know. You gotta come across and the bad guy.
I've known Pete for so long. We went to Monday Night Nitro together.
Yeah, we did.
Fuck you, lucky bastards.
When it was Nitro, man. Saw Sting.
Did you get to see the
It's
NWO?
time to close the show.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was around the.
It's time to close the show.
All right.
It just got political in the chat room.
Ah!
All right,
Yep.
sorry guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys. This was great.
Don't kill each other.
Rec Center on
it's
Thursday.
literally just
Make love, not war.
Yeah, it's literally just bouncing ideas, guys. Don't take life
It's
so
all an
serious.
act. It's literally an all an act.
Peace.
I love
Shut
you.
your dick off. All right,
Pete,
bye everybody.
Pete Canciglia,
Mike Willis.
comedian.
What's up?
Scott Wharton.
Motherfucking child that I never got to be from the dead, be dead to the shit I ain't had. Drugs in the bag, keep my mind off the past. I ain't making excuses, I'm explaining the nuisance. The pain in my heart, they keep me dreaming so lucid. Motherfuckers claim they feel it, but they don't though. I be in this motherfucker rockin' solo. Tell me where the fuck were you when I was so bro? Oh no, now the motherfuckers turning into fucking no shows. But